This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. What's going on, freaks? Thank you for all the channel members out there, the people who joined the channel. Thank you very much. You guys are part of the make a big difference at the end of the month and throughout the month. You get to have your emojis and the green name and everything. And thanks everybody who's, the Patreon subscribers. I don't really. Here's the thing, everybody. I don't have time to do like special things like when, people say I don't feel appreciated. I'm a channel member. To be honest with you, I do 3-4 hour shows every day, and I don't have time to do the. So basically, what you're doing is you're supporting the channel. And that's because you want to, I just don't have time to do like very often. Sometimes I have community posts and those kinds of things for channel members and whatnot. But I just, if I did this 3 days a week, I'd find all kinds of time to do something else. I'd find time to do extras, but I don't think I don't really appreciate you guys. Okay, so the channel members on here make a huge difference during the month, and then all the super chats and everything keep us rolling and doing what we're doing. So I was going to play the press conference. Then after that, I thought we could go over the 3 cases that we're currently funding for genetic genealogy, and then maybe move on to. I'll try to get through those other 2. I don't know though. All right, but Ventures with a Purpose, or Ventures with. Well, what's interesting is like when in their membership video that they have, the main guy, I don't remember what his name is, but he says Adventures with a Purpose, and it actually shows up on the screen. And they must have changed it because there is an organization called Adventures with a Purpose. So. Adventures with Purpose is the actual name now. And but by the way, doesn't that one guy Nick look just like Woody Harrelson? I mean, an absolute. I made a community post. Did you guys see that? I mean, he's like. I mean, if there was ever a stand-in double, that was maybe a scuba diver stand-in double boy. That's the guy you'd get. I mean, he's like an absolute clown. Where is it? There. This is my community post here. Let me flip over to the different screen. I mean, you don't think these 2 guys... I know they have the same hat on, but it wouldn't even matter about the hat. I saw him without the hat. Okay? I mean, it's just... I almost think this guy tries to look like this guy. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. Right? Man. That's unreal. Unreal. Yeah, I mean, who put a hand up if you didn't think that when you saw him? I mean, my God, it's like everybody goes, "Oh yeah, I saw it." All right, here we go. I'm going to play the press conference now that came out today. Hey, thank you, Alifair M and Tawny Lee. Appreciate it. Thank you. And on this channel, if you send in super chats at the end, I do a spin, just in every $5 you get a chance. But if it's PayPal, you get 1.5 times the chances. And if for 25, you can get also get one of these notebooks right here without the writing on the top. All right. On PayPal.
Shannon Moon, I'm the sheriff of Nevada County, and appreciate everyone's response and being here today to get some more information into our investigation. We have been working with the family and really since the very beginning trying to make sure that we focus.
Hold on, let me see something. Did that do that? Did that do that? Or
appreciate everyone's response and being here today to get some more information into our investigation. We have been working with the family and really since the very beginning trying to make sure that we focus on all of our efforts being for the family. And at this time, last night we did receive some information of the recovery of the vehicle that we've been searching for, and it was located inside the Prosser Lake. It was located within a search zone that we have been searching since the very beginning of our operation. We were very fortunate that we had the assistance of a volunteer group, the Adventures with Purpose, that came out with some very specific expertise and were able to help us in locating the vehicle that we had been searching for several weeks.
I did email Angela today, and I wanted to ask a couple questions, and she directed me towards the Nevada County Sheriff. It's
at these times that we really want to recognize the reason why we're all here, and that is for this family. We've said that from day one with our staff, the incredible amount of collaboration that we've received from our partners in this region. Clearly being a mountain town, we're used to having great collaboration, knowing that none of us have enough resources to go around, but when we all work together,
I think they complimented them like 20 times.
Incredible show of how committed.
See, Serial Killer wrote in the chat, "There's part of me that feels they tried to downplay AW." And no, they didn't at all. They complimented them like 5,000 times. What it didn't match was the overboard compliment of people like on YouTube and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, you would think that they could walk on water and were flying in the air with angel wings on. What they did was awesome, and they're an awesome organization. But it's crazy. So you were looking for that too. You wanted them to make the whole thing, and every question was about them in the that the reporters were asking, right?
All of our agencies are for our community here. Working hand in hand in unified command, joint command.
No, they weren't throwing any shade at them at all. Okay.
Yeah. Folks from the California Highway Patrol, the Truckee Police Department, and our friends from the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Who was throwing shade at them? These guys? No way, man.
The amount of effort that all of these agencies put together really truly is why we're here today.
I think they feel shitty that they weren't the ones that
and as we eliminated a lot of tips and information that was coming in, I think it's very important to understand that all of that work did lead us to this time. And being able to focus on the services that we provide to our families here that are impacted.
That's great, Leah, but these cops didn't treat them like crap.
We recovered the vehicle last
what does that have to do with anything?
We have located a decedent inside the vehicle. We believe it is our missing person. We have not been able to positively identify.
Well, I think it's totally legit to be able to, criticize, like, wow, you guys looked in that same exact spot and had scuba divers. How did somebody not see him? That is something to criticize about. They even criticize themselves. However, they do say that adventures, just like we were saying on the show, that they, their expertise is, that's all they do. So they're way better at looking at the sonar and the imaging, and they probably have better equipment, and that's all they do. And they even, I think a good idea would be for Adventures with Purpose to go around to different sheriff's departments around the country and train them on what they're looking at, and with, that type of technology. I mean, I don't know what it costs. I doubt it's like $100,000 or something. It might be 20 or less. I would imagine it's even way less than that. So why can't sheriff's departments around the nation have, for every county, have something like that, and they teach them how to use it. There's no reason they can't go out and train. I mean, that's what genetic genealogists do all the time. They go out and train police departments to do the same thing that they do.
But it's more than likely where we are today, and we wanted to make sure that the family had all that information first. The last thing we want to do is have them learn information.
Thank you, Rachel. 18 months.
Outside of our team. So I think that is one of the points that I really want to make sure that our communities know, and the folks that are watching today know, is truly how committed we've been throughout these last few weeks in coming to this resolution. It's still an active investigation, and I understand there will be, and we will continue to receive lots of questions regarding our investigation, and we will release what we can. But at this time, our commitment is to this family, and that is where we will consistently reach for making decisions on what we release. Again, it is still a very active investigation. So again, I appreciate everyone being here, getting this information out. It is, the reason why we're here is because of the community support and the amount of work that was put into this investigation, to where we could clearly identify very specific areas to search. The Adventures with Purpose folks did just a fantastic job at being able to locate that.
Yeah. Boy, they really dissed them right there, huh? Adventures with a Purpose did an absolutely fantastic job. God, those assholes.
The vehicle as quickly as they did, based on, again, a lot of heavy lifting that the folks behind me have done throughout the last couple of weeks. So I appreciate everyone being here, and we'll open up for some questions.
I'll go first.
Yes, ma'am.
What agency called in Adventure with Purpose, and when did you decide, if it was you guys, that we needed this extra help?
Captain Sam Brown from my agency will be happy to answer this question.
Yeah, thanks. The question was which agency requested. I'm not exactly sure that an agency had reached out and requested from within our unified command, but as everybody's reading online and seeing all the information that was coming out, and we realized that there was an interest from Adventures with Purpose, we did link up that group with Sergeant Mike Powers with the Placer County Sheriff's Office. They had lots of communication as they were going to be traveling to this area, and then a lot of detailed information that was shared that wasn't necessarily out to the public yet, that hopefully was of assistance to helping them locate the area to go to.
You said the car was found in the area where you've been searching since the beginning. What did the AWP have that maybe you guys didn't have, or why was that missed in the initial search?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. That's one that everybody's going to have, right? Is how did we not find it when we were searching? The lake was extensively searched with side sonar, with an ROV. We had divers, we had swimmers. I think that's part of what we're going to have to go back to do and debrief. When peace officers are out in the field and volunteers and searchers, it doesn't mean that they're experts in the field, right? These are sometimes ancillary duties, and we're calling from other agencies to try to jump in.
Yeah, that sucks. I thought I had the audio thing fixed, but apparently not.
And tracking underwater is an extremely difficult thing to do. So I think part of our debrief on any of these situations is how do we figure out to improve our services, work on our resources and the way that we use them. a lot of this equipment is high-end, very expensive, and you really need to have a lot of practice and expertise. And I think that's where a group like Adventures with Purpose is able to focus and practice those skills and really hone them. And so we're appreciative that they were able to come out and locate it. I also don't want to take away, though, from anything from our volunteers as well as law enforcement that have been out there. I mean, we literally had people swimming in the water looking down so that we didn't disturb the ground initially. My understanding is the vehicle was upside down. That also makes it more difficult. And if silt and things come up above, that can also make things difficult. So before I really can say, hey, why we weren't able to do it, I also could say that we eliminated a lot of areas that.
I think their decision with the silt was a problem. It's like, yeah, maybe that's something. But, get down a little bit further and see what the hell's down there, okay? I mean, staying 4 feet below the surface so you don't hit the silt and you didn't see the car, well, I mean, come on. I mean, how, you think it's going to get enough silt where it just buries the entire car? I don't think so. I think that's not a good decision.
That we would still be searching if we didn't have all the great people out there. And that helped give them some guidance as well, I think. But clearly their expertise in diving and their equipment that they brought to the table assisted us, and we appreciate that.
Do they specifically have any specific technology that all of these 16 law enforcement agencies didn't have?
I'll have to debrief with them before I'd have the answer to that question. I believe we're going to try to do that today.
Adventures with a Purpose has referenced red tape a couple times, saying they don't have the red tape that maybe your assisting agencies have. What is that red tape, and why might it be easier for a private organization to do this?
I don't know exactly what we're talking about in regards to red tape. I think that from the very beginning, we never deterred anybody other than certain scenes that we closed off at times that became areas of interest and we wanted to protect for evidence. So I don't know that there was any red tape ever put on this. I mean, if you look at the amount of man hours that went into it, it was like over 15,000. And I know it's even higher than that now. I don't think there was ever red tape. There were maps created for civilians to be out. The boat ramp in the lake were never actually shut down because the way we were looking at it is more eyes out there, the better off we're going to be for finding Kiely, and that was continually the goal. So I'm not sure that there was ever red tape. I think it comes down to lots of factors, and like I said, we're going to debrief and try to figure out how do we become better and do a better job at these types of operations.
Why did agencies believe it was an abduction at first?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of miscommunication. I don't know that it was ever labeled as an abduction. I think that you can never take that off the table, and so as we talked as a command group and unified command with all my partners that you see behind us, you couldn't remove that off the table because we hadn't found her. And so, that was some of the struggles with some of the services that we wanted to obtain and things we wanted to do, but we couldn't say it wasn't an abduction, but we also never said that it was an abduction. I think that was clarified fairly early on, but we also probably wouldn't have received all the services and all the people if that wasn't an option. If this was truly a search and rescue mission, we may not have had all the resources to conduct interviews. I think they identified over 400 juveniles, and to be able to interview all of those folks and provide feedback off of all that, it takes an army of people, and I think we were lucky to be able to put that together between my partners and agencies that are right behind me.
Did any of the juveniles, anybody mention a car going over the side, a car in the water, out of all those?
I don't believe that statement was made, not to my knowledge.
Was there any indication that this was an accident or foul play?
That's still being investigated. If we'd like, we could turn it over for CHP can give some information. They are conducting the accident investigation utilizing their MAPE team.
Good morning, Josh Ellers, Assistant Chief with CHP Valley Division based in Sacramento, which Truckee's a part of. I can confirm that our department is conducting a...
Wait a minute, you guys, I thought there wasn't even a party. There was YouTubers out there saying, we don't even know there was a party. But they talked to 400 kids. But there wasn't a party. Wow, that's such a weird thing to do, to talk to 400 kids when there wasn't even a party.
Fatality traffic collision investigation. We're harnessing all of our
I'm being
resources, working with
sarcastic,
all of our
if you can't
partners
tell.
here. As you see, we're utilizing our MATE team, our multidisciplinary accident investigation team, to harness more data from the vehicle that was recovered. We've utilized all of our air resources to map and video and take photographs of the area in question. And that's currently ongoing, so I can't comment on the nature and details of that investigation, but I certainly appreciate all the partnership that we have here with our local county and state partners We'll continue to assist in any overarching way that we can as an agency.
Do we know how close the vehicle was to the actual party site?
I don't have the exact location in terms of distance, but it was relatively close to the area in question.
Like a few hundred yards or half a mile?
I couldn't say. I haven't seen the exact data and the mapping. That's still ongoing.
Did many partygoers
Vehicle that was recovered. Also, we've utilized all of our air resources to map and video and take photographs of the area in question. And that's currently ongoing, so I can't comment on the nature and details of that investigation, but I certainly appreciate all the partnership that we have here with our local county and state partners. We'll continue to assist in any overarching way that we can as an agency.
Do we know how close the vehicle was to the actual party site?
I don't have the exact location in terms of distance, but it was relatively close to the area in question.
like a few hundred yards or half a mile?
I couldn't say. I haven't seen the exact data and the mapping. That's still ongoing.
Did many partygoers leave by
It
the
was a
same route?
party. It was a party. Brian.
I can't comment on all that, but what I can tell you is, and I think it's been discussed, is this is a very popular area. There's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of vehicular traffic on and off road. So certainly crisscrossed and a lot of extensive movement in that area continually throughout this time of year. So
Is there any suspicion that it could have been another car who maybe hit this car, or was it a one-person car situation?
I don't have that information that I could comment on at this time. What I can tell you is we'll do a thorough investigation. We'll take every bit and piece of information that we have, including what's already been provided to us, and we'll reach some conclusions that will be provided to the parties of interest at that time.
Before Adventures with Purpose went out there this weekend, when was the last time that we had swimmers or divers from you or any of these 16 agencies out there searching that area?
I'd defer back to the Nevada County Sheriff for that question. Thank you.
Yeah, I would say that we actually have had divers, not necessarily in Prosser, but in lots of bodies of water up until even the days that they were there. There were many ponds they were following up on Coldstream, as well as other bodies of water. So I don't know that dive teams ever discontinued. It was more of trying to still follow up on all of those things. And I believe Adventures with Purpose also had been diving at other lakes as well within the area.
Is there any time frame from the time that Adventures with Purpose started, how long it took them to find it?
You're talking on Prosser Lake specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was relatively quickly, but I don't have an exact time. Like, again, we're gonna have to debrief with them, figure out, between putting equipment down, getting in the water, and identifying where the car was at.
Can you talk about what happened last night in terms of taking the car out? What kind of law enforcement was there, and what happened last night?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the law enforcement partners you see behind me were present during that time, trying to do the best they could for.
So what they were just saying, they looked on Cold Stream Drive, and that's what I was asking about when I sent Angela a message the other day, because I always wanted to know if they actually maybe went into these ponds right here, off of a very treacherous dirt road with a steep bank, and apparently they searched all these ponds here. So I just wanted to make sure that was the same road he was talking about. There's this pond, there's a couple, these right here, and then these three of them actually, right? Well, I don't know if that's a pond, but 1, 2, and then and there's a final stretch to go home with no ponds. That's kind of interesting. What's that road? Oh, is that a railroad track? Huh. That's a tight turn for a train. Look at that. Oh. Now, what the hell's the point of that, by the way? I don't really understand that. Wow, must be a tunnel. Yeah, there's a tunnel right there. And then it comes out and then comes back around.
Ensuring that everything was done correctly, and also trying to add some levels of privacy to the best of the ability in worrying about the family and ensuring that they were covered as well. But I mean, beyond that, I don't know what your specific question is asking.
Logistically, how do you get a car out that's offshore? How does that happen, and then where does the car go? What happens?
Oh, by the way, the guy from yesterday who copied my show removed the video, which pretty much confirms that. But he'll claim that you know, because it was wrong too. But then in a video today, he told people, yeah, you know, I was close, you know, and he pointed at the same mountains in the background again. Didn't take any responsibility for it. But he did remove the video, which is great.
What
Yeah.
happens from last night to when you arrived to today?
Yeah, so once the car was located, dive teams were assembled. I believe Placer County was probably still the primary dive team. They have to use lots of devices to lift the car, turn it over, and then the use of tow trucks was what made it possible for pulling the vehicle out of the water. And the vehicle is taken down. The FBI has offered up assistance and are going to be helping to conduct investigation regarding the vehicle itself.
Yeah.
And making
There's a lot of people out there that they always say stuff like, they're just not funded. Well, here's the reality of it. There's plenty of money that they could be funding the police, but you got a bunch of wacko people on the hard left that want to fund the police and not. I mean, here's what we really want to hear. What we really need in society, everybody. We need more police officers. They need to be paid more money, and they need to have better training. And we need more. We need a civil society. Our society is breaking down right in front of our face, and you can see it on the news every single night. Okay, that's the truth, everybody. So even if you're hard left or whatever, change your opinion on it, okay? Because you're wrong 100%. So we need to get more funding to the police out there. All right, there isn't a question about it. It's not like, well, you know, I don't agree, Gray. We can reimagine something. We can go imagine in your freaking dreams, okay? Because what we really need are police officers, way more of them, and we need to treat them better. I mean, it's just like the whole thing has just gone to hell, man. They're the people that you want when something happens. You want them to be showing up on time and now. But now they're triaging because there's so few cops. They have to pick the worst of the worst. All right. So you guys should be ashamed of yourselves if you were one of the defund the police idiots that are out there. Okay. Sorry, because you've actually built up and ruined our society even more. Unbelievable. I mean, look at Portland, for God's sakes. I live in Portland. What a joke. Absolutely ridiculous. People, you know, camping out all over the streets. People can just go into your home and take it over. It sucks, man. I mean, it sucks. Without law and order, you don't have a civil society at all. You can go, well, we all want peace. No, we don't. No, there are people out there that don't want peace at all. They want to steal and rape and kill. And what you want to have are cops to take them out. And we need to get rid of the crap where we need to have way more. We need bigger prisons. We need a whole bunch of stuff. Okay? That's the truth. We need bigger prisons, and we need to keep people in there and when they're criminals. The crap about, well, we need to have, there's no bail if you raped or murdered somebody. Just, you know, go ahead. We'll see you later. Every one of those deaths and murders and robberies and all that shit, when somebody's let out on bail, is completely 100% the fault of the cities, states, and governments that allow it to happen. That's the truth. You know, just like those stupid judges who allow, you know, like a rapist out. Well, I think he's reformed. Yeah, I'll tell you what. You want to know how to change that? Make the rapist live with the judge for the first 3 weeks because he was so certain they were great. Oh, they're awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. He's going to live at your house for the next month or two. And after that, if you feel like he's reformed, and all of a sudden they go, I mean, oh, wait, hold on. What I said was another 5 years. Okay. Yeah, they're just absolute hypocritical jackasses.
Sure that we don't miss something that may be in there that we're not aware of.
Are you guys confident the car was in the water since the night of the party?
I have no reason to believe that it wasn't, but...
Yeah, I say it before because it's just, I haven't changed my opinion, you know? Of course I'm going to say it. You know, I say things that I believe in multiple times because I believe them.
You know, until we have those answers, I wouldn't know the answer to it.
Can you just clarify as far as what teams had been in that area before Adventures with Purpose, if any, on that specific, on Prosser?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost so many that it would be hard to link out between the different teams. There were numerous boats. Yuba County, Alameda, Nevada County, Placer County, swimmers came
What's
from
wrong,
Washoe
though? What's
County.
wrong, though?
We had divers from every single one of those agencies and then some. I mean, it was a vast amount.
See, look at, we got somebody named Andrew in here. Let's see what he said. Show your evidence. This police department was defended and couldn't get good sonar. What does that have to do with anything? That's the dumbest statement in the history of the world. Just in general, we need more police officers. We need more funding for police. They need better training. They need better equipment. And they need to be there for all of us when shit goes down. Not 911 operator, can you please hold? I mean, what a joke, okay?
People, and I would just say, unless you've conducted these types of searches and tried to do it, it does take a level of expertise, and nothing's perfect. You know, when you fly a helicopter.
By the way, I was at 76,305, and 3 morons left because they believe in defund the police. Bye bye.
Over the air, trying to identify if something is there. Most places give that less than a 5%.
Oh, and while we're at it, if you believe Sandy Hook was fake, like a fake false flag event, get the hell out of here right now. And we've got multiple. If you think the Earth is flat, if you don't think we ever landed on the moon, get the hell out of here as we speak. You won't fit in. All right, bye-bye.
Probability of detection, meaning if you flew over, you only have a 5% chance of seeing something. You had trees and brush and bushes and dirt and all these other things.
Okay, lost. Okay, lost. Oh, we lost one more,
Even
but we
though
got
once
one
you find
back.
the answer,
Okay.
on hindsight, everything looks 20/20. The reality is it's not that simple. It is pretty complex and it's tough. So again, we're just appreciative that the resource.
Yeah, maybe, Deborah. I mean, you know, let's let the investigation do what they're doing. Okay, I mean, where everybody's trying to nitpick, was the window broken and all this kind of crap. Things happen when cars go into the water, and when people go down, they try to put equipment onto the vehicle to pull it out of the water, wires and whatnot. Things are going to happen. Things get broken. Things happen. There you go.
Sources came out.
It's just, let's let the investigation happen, and then when they tell us what they find, then let's start talking about it. Because we can spend all day going, God, I wonder if her left shoe was on. Wouldn't it be weird if her left shoe wasn't on, but her right one was on? Why was her right? Wait, are you saying one of her shoes was off? How come one of her shoes was off? That's weird. I mean, wouldn't the other shoe come off too? I mean, wouldn't they, you know, and people just go on and on about the most mundane, silly things that really don't contribute to anything. Let the law enforcement, in this case, right now, come out with what they find in the vehicle, and then that'll lead us to then start asking questions.
And we're able to help us in locating.
Were there signs that the person in the car tried to escape?
I think that's too preliminary for us to be able to determine that at this time.
Was there more than one body in the vehicle?
No, there was not more than one body in the vehicle.
Describe the difficulty of what water does over 2 weeks to evidence.
It depends. That's a complicated question. I'm not an expert in water. However, temperature of the water and things like that come into play. But it can add difficulty based on many factors that can cause damage to, obviously, things that we want to look at to investigate, but also to bodies that may have been submerged for a period of time.
There likely could have been tire tracks or some type of signal that a car did go into the water there. Did rain impact that? Did this heavy activity in the area impede?
I don't see any tire marks leading to the, when you say pink square, I don't know what you mean, but the square that they made.
Seeing those signs?
I think everything's a factor, but again, that's where we rely on the MATE team from CHP to come in with their expertise and be able to provide some of those answers.
And it seems that Adventures with Purpose have pretty sophisticated equipment. Is this something that the agencies here have, or are you all still?
You can't see on the video.
Yeah, I'll have to debrief with them to figure out what equipment exactly they use to see.
Why do you guys, everybody wants to know all these little mundane little things. We're going to get the answers in like probably a few days on the initial stuff. They already know it's her. I mean, it's 100% her. Okay, if it's not her, I'm going to the store. I'm going to buy a crow, and I'm going to take off its feathers, and I'm going to eat it. Okay, but it literally is. It is her in there. Okay, and then everybody wants to know all these little tiny mundane questions. Ooh, were there tire tracks from the square over to where it went in the water? I don't know, man. The camera was up high. We can't see it. What difference would it make? you know? It doesn't mean anything. Let's just wait and see what they come up with. They'll tell us what it means. I mean, it could mean a million things. What, was it parked there and it slowly drove? It seems to me like it came off of a rise, hit, and then maybe went in the water. We can't see it, though. You know, interestingly, the water level apparently is 3 feet lower, he says, than it was. So it changes the look, because it would have been higher. So maybe it's underwater where the car went in and maybe hit a little bit. I mean, who knows? I mean, that is kind of interesting that the area where they made that square might have actually been underwater on the initial impact a little bit, like maybe something.
It's items
I mean,
that
who
we
knows?
have, or
I
if it's a
can't
matter
tell,
of
though.
training with the items that we have. So until we talk to them and know exactly what they used and how they went about it, I wouldn't be able to answer that correctly.
They also said they went.
Yeah, why not, Dan? That's
The
not-
car was
that's what we
14
were
feet
pretty
deep.
much saying, you know.
Did
that
y'all go
each
that far to look for the car?
Yeah,
maybe
some of that
every county should have
information
something.
is sometimes deceiving. So yeah, the car was reported at 14 or 15.
But yeah, you could have like multiple almost like maybe use congressional districts to have a search and rescue that knows how to use this type of equipment in the congressional districts. You know, because that combines multiple counties.
15 feet. However, the water level since the 6th has also dropped a vertical 3.5 to 4 feet, which could be 20 to 25 feet off of shore. So a lot of things have changed in those aspects. Until we really can look into all that information and sort through it, it's difficult to say whether those factors had a play in it or not. I think it's still more important for us to debrief, look at training, look at equipment, look at tools, and look at outside entities that are experts.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing: is like you're saying, I'm curious too. I just think things like, I wonder if it, I don't need to say it because we can't get the answer. We're not going to get to know the answer until they tell us the answer. There's a lot of those things
where this is maybe their full-time gig that they do, and try to see how we have that involvement from the community to come out and help support.
At this time, can you tell if there are any signs of foul play?
At this time, we're not going to be able to say anything like that.
It's been said that people were drinking at the party that night. Was anything found in the car?
By the way, I don't even remember what I just said about the crow. What was I going to eat a crow? I won't really eat a crow, but I'll do something. What is the? I don't even remember what it was. I mean, it was 2 seconds ago, but there's so many things out there that. Oh yeah, right. If it wasn't her in the car, yeah, exactly. There's no way I'm doing that.
Could lead you to believe that she was drinking that where the person found was?
Yeah, the investigation's ongoing, so we're not going to be able to comment on that.
It seemed like where they found the car, it might have been pretty far from the road. You have suspicions that maybe the people were parking on that little island.
Hey, by the way, even if you hate my guts, could you hit the subscribe button and also the like button? Thank you.
I wouldn't be able to comment on that either unless somebody gave some statements to that. I hadn't heard any information like that.
Do you have any theories as to how the car got in the water, and also what gear was the car found in?
I think if I make up theories, then I'm just guessing, and I'm going to lead us back into a trail that's not certain. So we'll wait until we have those facts and details. And as far as the car, we're not going to release any information until we've done a solid investigation on it.
I think there already are kind of like
Who
Texas
received the
episodes.
first call from Adventures with Purpose, and what was that call like?
I don't know that we received a first call. I think we reached out to them after we read it online. And so I'm not sure, I mean, again, with 150 law enforcement officials, it's possible that a call came in and something happened. But from the Unified Command and talking with my partners, none of us were
Yeah,
aware
and he
of
asked the
initial,
dumbest
so
question of
we
them all, Zozo. Isn't
tasked
that
the
amazing?
investigative sergeant with contacting them and reaching out. So I believe, best I know, we did that proactively on our end.
And they contacted the family?
I think there's still some sketchy details on exactly how that contact went out. So I don't want to speak on behalf of the family.
What was it when you heard, you personally, when you heard that they might have found the car? What went through your head?
Well, I think what we all are thinking, which is hopefully this is true, and we got a lot of work ahead of us to make sure that we still do right by the family. Our biggest concern is making sure that the family has been aware of everything from day one, and that we're not shielding them, but we're also not bombarding them with things. There's a lot of ups and
It would be cool is if they work together sometimes. Call in Texas EquiSearch and Adventures with Purpose when there's water, elements, and land. How cool would that be?
Throughout this investigation, a lot of emotional turns throughout the whole thing, and our goal was to make sure we're supportive of the family throughout this whole task and doing our best in that.
How long will an investigation into the car, maybe that's for Highway Patrol or FBI, how long does an
And by the way, right now we're 45 minutes into the show, and we're about 1/20th of a normal night. Okay, you guys? So this is a normal night like every other night. So on this channel, every single night we raise funds through Super Chats, PayPals, channel memberships, and we donate money from the income from the channel. I donate money, over 50% of the net revenue, to various charities, meaning like Texas EcoSearch. If Adventures with Purpose was a nonprofit, I'd donate to them too. But we have Texas EcoSearch, RAIN, NCMEC, and we have a DNA fund. We're going to go over the 3 cases that we're funding in a few minutes here. But when we have tons and tons of people in here, it'd be nice if we could keep up the pace on that. All right? Thanks.
investigation to look at a car tape to figure out what may have happened?
I mean, I think there's a lot of
Thanks,
factors
Tina.
in that. I don't mind turning it over to CHP and let them.
Because obviously we have a multifaceted investigation with multiple agencies, it can take time. The FBI is working, evaluating the vehicle. We have to come in and do that. We want to allow them to work. We'll come in and examine data, examine the vehicle, have all of our investigators look at that car. So depending on circumstances, it can be several days, it can be several weeks. We also want to wait on other information related from the coroner's office and other things that all get compiled into a comprehensive investigation. So the easy answer is it could take a while.
All right, we've had the opportunity to hear from most reporters. Most have asked 2 questions. Is there anybody that had a follow-up question that they have not been able to ask yet?
Thank you, Dana
The
Dane.
report that Adventures with Purpose was told by police that they did not need to search Prosser, or at least in the specific area where the car was found, because that had been extensively searched already. Is
Might
that
be a
true?
short show, though.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably not accurate, and we shared maps, ping information, and locations, and so we probably shared that was extensively searched, and sonar was used, and that may add to the level of where they chose to go to first or last. However, nothing was prevented or shared, and I don't believe that we gave any indication that we thought we knew where she was at, because clearly from all of our daily press releases, we reported over and over again that we didn't know where she was at, and we needed anybody's help and assistance in finding that location.
But you were working in partnership with Adventure with Purpose?
Yeah, I believe that what ultimately occurred
Actually,
was that our
Dana
sergeant was
Sarita.
able to make contact with them, Sergeant Powers with the Placer County Sheriff's Office, come up with a plan and share information on where things were at. So we're still appreciative, like I said, of them being able to locate the vehicle.
Will they get the cash reward for helping find the vehicle and the body?
It's not a question I'll be able to answer.
I guess they never accept awards and give it back to the family.
Ask, have you been able to determine a cause of death, and will there be a toxicology report conducted?
The question was, have we determined cause of death, and will there be a toxicology inquest? Yes. Autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow. Toxicology results generally take 4 to 6 weeks for a return on those, and at that time we will provide that back over to Nevada County.
Does anyone from the family want to make any comments at this point specifically about this massive search and all the tips that came in?
Don't believe they do at this point.
Yeah, this is the guy I think I tried to get a hold of today.
Yeah.
It looks
So
like
with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the press conference. Thank you all for coming here today.
I
We
think.
certainly
I don't know.
appreciate it, and pay attention to both Placer County Sheriff's Office as well as Nevada County Sheriff's Office as we continue to share details as they become available. Thank you.
Well, there you go. There's the press conference. No new news whatsoever. I guess, well, there's no new news. All right. That's it. So we can sit around and wonder about every little detail, but let's just, I think it'd be better to wait, because there's really nothing that we can see. We see the car in the water, and it got towed out. They blocked the view of it. Some windows are bashed out. One window's rolled half down or whatever. Maybe law enforcement did that when they pulled the car up. We don't really know. Maybe the window was partially down at the time it rolled into the water. We don't know. I don't know. They'll figure out what all that stuff is, though. They'll give us the alcohol content and all that information. It stays in some body organs longer. I can't remember, like the spleen or something. I don't remember exactly, but they'll be able to tell us what the alcohol content, all that stuff. Okay, so let's just wait for that. All right, everybody? Thank you. All it does when you speculate, you start building stories in your mind, and you come up with crazy stories when there isn't one. And that's sort of the MO of people on YouTube. They go, well, there's nothing to do. Let me think. Oh, yeah. Well, you see the one with the way the guy looked at him? Oh, wait a minute. His cousin is friends with the girlfriend of... Wow, of the guy that gave the ride. Whoa! It doesn't mean anything. All right. Let's see. Hey, thanks, Half Rudder. So if you guys want to go discuss all that stuff, I'm sure there's other channels endlessly playing the same stuff over and over, still theorizing on everything. Yeah, like I said last night, I think it's possible that there was, the car was pushed into the water. We don't know right now because we don't know, right? We don't know. So it's possible. I think it's way more likely, though, that she just being absolutely intoxicated, like Kanika Jenkins, drove her car wildly around and went into the water. That is the most likely scenario. But it is possible that something else is going on because we don't have answers yet. Yeah, they did exactly what I told you they were going to do. They were going to zoom in on the car in the water and look at that coloring inside. Ooh, and probably draw outlines around it and everything. They did ask that question, Zozo. They didn't answer the question because they're investigating it, and they wouldn't answer it anyways. Yes, everybody knows that that's what they're going to be looking at. Was the car just pushed into the water? Was it in gear when it went into the water? All the questions, they'll answer all of them. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about other stuff tonight, so yes, I'm sure there's other channels going on and on and on for hours and hours and hours about absolutely nothing. Okay? Nothing they're talking about is going to be relevant unless they're rationally looking at the case, which never happens, because when you do that, there's no content to discuss often. You're just inventing things. You try to look for an angle. That's why people are discussing the Ryan and the other person saga. Who gives a crap about those people? What we're trying to do is find answers for Kiely and her families and report it responsibly. What we do here is we take the facts and cases and then we try to figure out what most likely happened in a case. And we're right, I would say we get it right 80% of the time, if that low. Okay? And that's what happens when you put together. Now, every once in a while, the crazy thing happens, and I always use the same example because it's so extreme that the wild thing can happen. There was a case a few years back where this Hispanic woman was pregnant, and she was pretty young, 18 or 19, I think. She was in high school. Her husband was 25 or something. And you see her on surveillance leave school, and she disappears. And then they find this baby on top of a trash can a day later, and it turns out, oh my God, but it was somebody else's baby. It wasn't even related to that woman. And then she goes missing, and she's really, 8-9 months pregnant or something. And then it turns out that she went over to somebody's house to buy a baby stroller that was listed on Facebook And when she went to the house, the woman there strangled her to death and cut the baby out of her stomach and tried to pass it off as her own, but the people at the hospital, the baby died, and the people at the hospital realized that she didn't give birth, and then it all led to an arrest. But see, there's no way that anybody would predict that one. The crazy people would, and they would have been right that one time out of 100 million, okay? But that's, that's the thing, is you can't predict something like that. And it's not worth it to be right 1 out of 1,000 just to be, oh, I got that one right, it was great. It's dumb. Solved? I don't know about like solved. I've helped on a whole bunch of them. Hey, get rid of that name. Like, can you see the name? It's supposed to be one that's deleted from the channel. It's not really, you can tell if you tried to say his name. I've helped out on quite a few, yeah. Like, some piece of information or something, putting something together that made sense to some people, Right. And I guess you could say we paid for solving of Daniel Armentrout. So that counts, right? And Jan H, thank you. Our neighbor purposely parked where my wife parks just to be, man, it's just we're in a weird situation now. Yeah, well, thank you, Robert's girl. And if you'd like to join the channel, that'd be awesome. It helps the channel out, and because I do 3 to 4 hour shows every single night of the week. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And yes, when you send in super chats and whatnot, it helps support me, the channel. And at the same time, at the end of the month, because of the generosity, I donate over 50% of the net revenue to various charities. Okay, now if you can find other channels that do that, let me know. Okay, that'd be great. They don't. We're at 92,000 since January 2020. 92,511. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to move to a different. The cases that we're doing with identifiers. Okay. So the first one I'll talk about is. It might be a short show depending on what we're doing here. I'll save some of these cases when we're. A different situation. All right. So here is the Bartow County John Doe. It was in Lake Altoona. So this is a pretty crazy one here. It's the Bartow County John Doe was a male discovered in Lake Altoona near Cartersville, Georgia. And by the way, I actually called in this case to the Russell and Shirley Derman sheriff, because in that case, Russell Derman's head was cut off, but Shirley Derman was taken out in the water with blunt force trauma and then weighted down and sunk to the bottom of the reservoir over there. It's only 90 miles away, and in this case, it has some similarities, just the weighted down part. The John Doe was discovered in the lake after being shot on the right side of his head. To prevent him from surfacing, a backpack containing rocks and sand was placed on his body, as well as a pair of ankle weights and an anchor fastened to a back brace. So that's pretty crazy, right? I mean, listen to all this shit going on. Rocks and sands was placed on his body in a backpack, as well as a pair of ankle weights and an anchor fastened to a back brace. Additionally, white and red ropes were used to bind the body. So doesn't that sound like his arms and everything are just wrapped up like that? Yeah. Did you see we were on to something else there, Sir Coolbox? Go somewhere else. All right, thank you. Most likely from decomposition, his remains later surfaced near a bridge, so he had body gases and floated up. Where the water was measured to be 6 feet deep, it is unclear whether his body floated to this location or if it was dumped where it was found. Authorities released facial reconstruction of the man publicly, and they reportedly received a large number of tips. They elaborated he does not appear consistent with missing persons from the area or from the Atlanta region. So this is one that we're fully funding the identity of this person. Right? And that's why it's so important to keep every single night we raise funds to build it up so that we can donate large amounts of money at the end of each month, and it supports my channel. Police said the identity of a man found in Altoona Lake is a mystery. Investigators told Channel 2 Chris Joe they've taken fingerprints and used facial recognition. Now they need your help. The Bartow County Sheriff's Office gave Jose, I don't know what that means, a sketch of the man recovered from Altoona Lake. Investigators said someone on a boat found the man floating in the water on September 1st. At this point, we're merely looking for anyone who can identify this man, said Sergeant Jonathan Rogers with the Bartow County Sheriff's Office. Investigators circled the spot on a map near Altoona Dam. Deputies said the man had gunshot wound to his right temple. The man had on a pack filled with rocks and sand, ankle weights, and a small boat anchor tied to his waist. Obviously, we know a gunshot causes death, but what the manner of death was, we need to put together his lifeline and figure out why he was at the lake. So that's why we're going to identify him, and then they'll be able to put the pieces together. But here's the thing, if his hands are bound, then it's definitely, it's got to be a homicide if his hands are bound, unless somebody shot him and then tied him up. You can't tie yourself up after you're shot, right? That just doesn't, well, I mean, I guess you could if it wasn't life-threatening, but the gunshot was to his head, right? Deputies said the man doesn't match up with any missing people in Bartow County or Metro Atlanta. The GBI did an autopsy. So far, deputies said facial recognition software has not identified the man. And here's another article. Who is the man found dead in Metro Atlanta Lake with an anchor tied to his waist? It's been a mystery that a local sheriff's office has been trying to solve for 2 years. Channel 2 Action News contacted the Bartow County Sheriff's Office after we received dozens of messages from viewers over the past several months. Clearly, there are many people still interested in the case after 2 years. In September 2018, someone on a boat found the man floating on the water near Altoona Lake Dam. Deputies said the man has a gunshot wound to his right temple. The man had on a backpack filled with rocks and sand, ankle weights, and a small boat anchor tied to his waist. Obviously, we know a gunshot causes death, but what the manner of death was, we need to put together his lifeline. So I would, if he was tied, his body was bound, but his hands were free, it would be possible that he shot himself to somewhere and wanted to sink to the bottom, and then the gun isn't where his body was found because he started floating, and it would be hard to find the gun, maybe, right? Deputies said the man doesn't match with missing person anywhere. The most important information to share is that the sketch is just that, a sketch of what a forensic artist believes the man may have looked like. There are many tips received that firmly think they have identified a missing person from a sketch, but that has not been the case to this point. The case detectives wants us to also share that our victim had no tattoos and no scars or medical implants. The Bartow County Sheriff's Office had followed up on hundreds of tips from residents, and many of those were concerned family members and friends of missing persons. The Sheriff's Office has the victim's DNA and dental profile, which has helped eliminate a few possibilities. And this has a little bit more information. Deputies were patrolling Lake Altoona and discovered this individual floating in a cove near Bethany Bridge in approximately 6 feet of water. Let's see. So there's Lake Altoona. So it's right here. I'm gonna oh, there he was already. So right in this area. So this is a 360-degree camera. Supposed to be anyway. Come on. I forget it. Yeah. Shoot. I don't know. I guess it's not working right now. Yeah, so somewhere right around in here. 6 feet of water floating around. And then down here it says ankle weights, red and white rope, backpack weighted with rocks and sand, small boat anchor attached to brace belt, multicolored back brace belt, compass on yellow string worn as necklace, blue short sleeve t-shirt, tan shorts with brown belt. Huh, you know what's interesting is before they had fins somewhere. There you go. Yeah, right here. So he had a weight belt with anchor, had swim fins on his feet. I mean, that part of the story makes it just nuts, right? I mean, that's absolutely crazy. So let's say he was shot and bound and thrown in the water. Why the hell would somebody put fins on his feet? That doesn't make any sense. But what if, you know, the binding was to keep the weights on and whatnot, and he had the fins on so he could swim hard out into the water, even weighted down, and then he shoots himself in the head, sinks, the gun goes down, then decomposition makes him float to the surface, and then months later, or whatever, how long it was, he floats to the surface and they find him. That sort of makes sense. Body was weighted down, backpack filled with rocks, ankle weights, weight belt with anchor, had swim fins on the feet, and exhibited a single gunshot wound on the head. Yeah, I just said that. TTJO. Yeah, so anyways, he's out in the water and he shoots himself. That's weird. A compass on a yellow string. You know, like he's... And it was worn as a necklace. So it was around his neck, a compass. So it's almost like he was... I don't know. The fins are a real big conundrum in this case. Just a weird situation. Because if you shot the guy in the head, tied him up, weighted him down, and we're going to throw him in the water, why the hell would you put fins on the person? Makes no sense. We don't know what it is, Frank. So that's that case, right? The Altoona, we call them Altoona Doe. For Lake Altoona. But I'm going to have to throw myself in prison right now just to get this thing going here. We're struggling. So here we go. Get on to the next part. I don't know how many times I'm going to throw myself in prison tonight, but it's going to be a lot. Sounds like a murder. Yeah, well, it sounds like a murder, but why does he have his fins on his feet? So he was swimming in the ocean, and then somebody shot him, and then they tied him up, and yeah. Despondent? How do you know if he's despondent? Come on, Billy Juliana. Jeez. Yeah, no way to know that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I mean, what element made you think he was despondent? Okay, I'm going to prison. All right, there it is, everybody. When you have 20 people sending you there. And I'm going to go use the restroom in the prison. Okay?
Chewbacca? Oh, I'll be Chewbacca if you want me to.
No bail. Wow. Oh, no bail, man. So I'm actually at minus 12. It's going to be a long time before we get the hell out of here. I can tell you that. Wow. Well, thank you, Billy Juliana, for not giving me bail. First one was the only good one. Yeah, you know what he could have done? An alien, Frank, could have beamed the gun into his hand, and he was looking at it, and he accidentally pulled the trigger. Could have been all kinds of things. No, that can't be Frank. See, Frank, what you didn't take into account of anything else that was said. Yes, he was swimming when he was tied up with a whole bunch of binding and weighted down with anchors and ankle weights, and then he just found a gun and accidentally shot himself. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, thanks, Frazzled Cat. There we go. Let's see. And then Jessica shoot. Oh, wait, hold on. So we were minus 12. We're minus 2 again. That's unbelievable. Unreal.
Jessica Schubach. Thank you. And then we've got LM and Daryl Montgomery. Now I'm trying to figure out where are we at. So we were -2. Yeah, after Jessica we were -2. Then even. Well, I don't know if that's bail because that was Honeycrisp. And then Daryl. Wait, this is your jailmate. Oh wait, so that's not even. I didn't get bailed out with Daryl. Daryl left me in. It was for my jailmate. It was probably for Chewbacca, for God's sakes. I'm still in here. Minus. Wait, what are we? Even? There we go. That's it. We got out now with Amy Celeste. There you go. We'll just assume that that's what that meant. Okay. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying there? Who said that up there about the... Frank, do you understand that, what I'm saying? It can't be that he found a gun and accidentally shot himself. And we know that because he had ankle weights on, he had an anchor tied around his back, he was bound up with cord, and he had fins on and a gunshot wound to the head. So you're saying he went swimming for fun with all that stuff on him, and then he found a gun while he was swimming and then shot himself in the head. Yeah, probably not likely there. I'm just going to say it, you know. Anyways, thank you guys for the bail stint there. We got into, you know, a possibility of hitting a notebook category tonight. All right, there we go. So let's get to the next case that we're doing. How about Addison County? We haven't talked about that one in a long time. But Plato, wasn't that awesome when Colleen said that? That they found some more powdered stuff and found a better lab to send it to? Hey, thank you. Mike S. My guess? Is that what that really means? Well, Mike S is... Yeah, it's a trick. And Alley Cake got me a snack. Thank you. Alright. Yeah, isn't that awesome? Alright, so let's go over that one again. Addison County Doe. This is one that we are trying to get solved. It's kind of the one I really want to do. Okay? I mean, that Altoona one that we just did is pretty interesting, right? But here, let's take a look at this. So when you look at the date, look at the date on the... Well, you can't see it yet. Oh, look at I got it before you said look at. The Bar Daily Times, Bar, Vermont, May 1935, May 16th, 1935.
Snack.
And check this out. So, slaying of a man, 2 women. Well, that's not really what it was. It was 2 children and a woman. They just didn't identify it. But it says, though the farmers who came to praise... I don't know if that's the one. Is this the story? No, there it is, right. 3 badly decomposed bodies are found near Wood Road with 2 bullet holes in each head. I mean, can you imagine that? So this isn't like well, we don't know what happened. These are all 3 people were murdered. The trio remains had been tightly bound in army duffel bag. Is that crazy or what? I don't even remember these details right here. So the trio's remains had been tightly bound in army duffel bags. Women picking flowers stumbled over a skull. No effort made to conceal or cover the bodies. Sheriff Ralph H. Sweet. Here, let me go over. Let's get to this one. Addison. There it is. Addison County. So we're going to go over to the area because I've already mapped this out from a long time ago. So it's right in here.
So Sheriff Ralph H. Sweet today announced that 3 badly decomposed bodies found near a lonely byway here yesterday with bullet holes in the head apparently were those of a man and 2 women, and that their remains had been tightly bound in an army duffel bag. So is that just one bag, or each one was in a bag? Because it says in an army bag. Duffel bag after they had been slain. Sweet said a preliminary examination of the bodies by Dr. L.S. Walker indicated one body was that of a large man and another that of a large woman. The third body, he said, apparently was that of a 17 or 18-year-old girl. I think some of this stuff changes later, that ages and everything. Dental work is clue. Dental work, which Sweet said he hoped would lead to a solution of the crimes, was found on 2 of the bodies. Bridge work had been done on the teeth of the man, and gold fillings were found in the teeth of the woman. Fabric found near where the bodies were located, along with other articles, led the sheriff to believe, he said, that the bodies had been tightly bound in an army duffel bag after the trio had been slain. He said a decayed blanket, possibly an army or horse blanket, 4 small block pulleys, and eyelets, sometimes used on duffel bags, were found near the bodies. A theory the bodies were nude when dumped by the roadside was discounted by Sweet, who said that among articles found was a piece of silk fabric. He said that indicated that at least one of the victims wore some clothing, although the bodies, no doubt, had been in canvas before they were dumped at the roadside. Let's see. Although the bodies, no doubt, had been bound in canvas before they were dumped at the roadside. Right, so they were transported there and dumped. That's the reality of it. Hey, thanks, MM. Are you friends with LM? That's pretty funny. That's just weird. Anyways, thanks. Heading to Freak Rewind Crew. All right. Let's see. Let me read that part again. Fabric found near where the bodies were located, along with articles, maybe that was like of clothing, led the sheriff to believe, he said, that the bodies had been tightly bound in an army duffel bag after the trio had been slain. He said a decayed blanket, possibly an army or horse blanket, for small block horse blanket, 4 small block pulleys, and that's crazy. So the block pulleys, what do you think that would have been for? And eyelets, sometimes used on duffel bags, were found near the bodies. A theory the bodies were nude when dumped by the roadside was discounted by Sweet, who said that among the articles found was a piece of silk fabric. He said that indicated that at least one of the victims wore some clothing, although the bodies, no doubt, had been bound in canvas before they were dumped at the roadside. In addition to other articles found, a piece of green canvas also was picked up near the place where the bodies, nothing more than skeletons, were found. So it says Sweet expressed the opinion the trio was slain more than a year and a half ago. So now we're looking at 1932-ish, 33, maybe 33. And the bodies had lain in the bush for that period, although he had a report indicating the remains might have been there longer. Fred Munson of Middlebury reported that while hunting in the vicinity about 3 years ago, he had observed that what he thought was the remains of a dead animal near the point where the bodies were located. So at that time, he thought it was a dead animal. He said he now believed it was one of the bodies, or possibly a sack holding the 3 he had seen. So I guess there was just one duffel bag with all 3 bodies in it. Maybe, right? Possibly a sack holding the 3 he had seen. The 3 he had seen? Sack holding the 3.
He said he now believed it was one of the bodies or possibly a sack holding the three. Each of the skulls bore 2 bullet holes. One, a physician reported, where a bullet entered and another where it emerged. Oh, okay, so the holes were in and out shots. So there was 1 shot each. So each of the skulls bore 2 bullet holes, but that means the bullet came in and exited. The bodies were found late yesterday by a Mrs. Dangy and her daughter by a previous marriage, a Miss Perry, as they roamed through the woods picking spring flowers. I mean, 1930 something, you're picking spring flowers, there's no war going on or nothing, and what do you come across? 3 bodies in an army duffel bag. One of the women, Sheriff Ralph Sweet said, kicked what she thought was a stone. It was a human skull. Oh my God. The bodies lay at the side of the little-used Middlebury-Bristol Road, which leads through the hills at a spot about 5 miles from Middlebury Center. They were grouped in a space about 8 feet square, and apparently no effort had been made to conceal them. The winds of many months had covered them with scattering of pine needles. There is no habitation within a half mile of the place where they were found, and the road is seldom traveled except by woodcutters. Sheriff Sweet believed the victims had been shot elsewhere and their bodies brought to the secluded byroad. Police of northern New England, thank you. Police of northern New England today searched through dusty, months-old files of missing persons to trace out a possible identity as authorities returned to the spot where the bodies were found to shift the pine needles that carpeted the woods for clues. Dr. L.S. Walker, Middlebury physician, was called by Sheriff Sweet to examine the bodies. State Detective Almo B. Franzoni was on his way here from Montpelier, was expected here during the day to assist in the investigation. Yeah, so you see why that one's pretty interesting? It'll lead right to a killer, because where is the husband? Hey, thanks, Charleston Amy. Oh, you're not on rewind mode. Wow, that is absolutely incredible. Hey, look at that. I got my old nefarious mug right here. That was on the 16th. Let's see what this one is.
Not on rewind. Yay.
Mystery of 3 skeleton grows denser. Hank of hair, bits of silk dress, awning, and blanket among objects found in the shallow graves. A triple murder mystery so baffling that it probably will never be solved faced Vermont law enforcement officers tonight after a full day investigation of the macabre case which has electrified central Vermont, involving the discovery yesterday of 3 skeletons, each with a bullet hole in the head. Few clues, none apparently of great importance, rewarded officers for their day's effort. A few banks of matted hair, a small piece of woman's dress, silk badly disintegrated, remains of a black and buff stripped awning, small pulley blocks, the corner of a woolen blanket, the snap from an automobile side curtain, numerous human bones, and a few teeth comprise the tangled bits of evidence found. Crazy, huh? Yeah, you notice how we were up at 600 people, and you're not talking about Kylie Gray. So if you're one of those people, just unsubscribe. I'm not interested in having you around. But if you're interested in actual true crime, and looking at cases and trying to figure out stuff of all kinds of all varieties, then awesome. But if you're not, then, you know, bye-bye. It's not, you'll just be totally disappointed because I'm not going to keep covering the same case every second of every day merely for views. Doesn't happen. Yeah. It is a great idea. I don't, see, here's the thing is I don't beg for subscribers. If you don't like what I'm doing and you're only here for one reason, I'd rather have you not be here. You get what I'm saying? Hey, thanks, Brianna Props. Yeah, so this is one of the ones that we're funding. We've already made one attempt. They sent the, they ground up the bone, sent it off to a lab. They weren't able to get a DNA. Oh, they were able to get a tiny amount. It wasn't enough. Like really tiny, like few picograms or something. So they have found some more of the ground bone that they had. So they're sending it off to a lab in Canada, which is has much higher detection of DNA ability, you know, to extract it. So that'll be great. And man, if they get enough DNA in that one, I am going to, oh man, I'm going to be pumped. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but they still have it. All right. I think this is almost where I could do Dark Times. The music. The way this person was writing it, let's see. However, after hearing plans outlined, that's a different story. Few clues, none apparently of great importance. I think we're down here. Slain 3 years ago. An attempt to set the approximate date of the grisly crime resulted in the conclusion that the 3 bodies had kin in their woodland grave at least 3 years. Is that what it said? Resulted in the conclusion that the 3 bodies had lain in their woodland grave at least 3 years. Okay. This was deduced from statements of natives regarding an offensive odor prominent in the fall of 1932. Officers believe their greatest hope of identifying the skeleton hangs upon the dental bridgework in one skull and a number of gold fillings in another. In their efforts to evolve some sort of theory from the bones, the officer late this afternoon carried them to the State Board of Health Laboratory in Burlington, where Assistant State Pathologist F.S. Kent will try to reconstruct the skeletons, determine the sex and approximate age of the victims, and if possible, reach a conclusion as to the approximate date of their death. The triple murder is the most bizarre crime in the state history. Officers face a complete lack of motive for the crime. They have little or no chance of identifying the victims. There is practically no basis for any theory of the crime. However, state detectives Almo B. Franzoni of Rutland State, Attorney John T. Conley, Sheriff Ralph C. Sweet, and Deputy Sheriff Charles Childs, the officers who have the investigation in charge, have made some general conclusions they believe. So this might be interesting. They believe that the 3 persons were murdered in an identical manner. Yeah, that makes sense. Those are the detectives right there. I mean, look at how classic those guys look. Yeah, that's just. By a single shot through the temple. So all 3 were shot in the temple. That the murders were committed outside the state and the bodies brought to East Middlebury. That the skeletons of a man and 2 women, or possibly a man, a woman, and a child, that the bodies were nude and had been stripped of all means of identification, save dental work. Aside from these generalizations, the probers have but vague theories that there are as many theories as there are investigators and, spectators. Not all are plausible. Boy, don't we hear that a lot in today. However, the investigation will continue tomorrow with the further questioning of the few scattered natives of this section where the skeletons were found. Meanwhile, Dr. Kent will begin the laborious task of attempting the large, of assembling the large package of bones which were presented to him this afternoon. His job will take several days. Officers do not expect a complete report from the pathologist for about a week and a half. At daybreak this morning, the officers began the minute examination of the spot where the skeletons were found yesterday afternoon by Mrs. Fred A. Dagg and her 15-year-old daughter of a previous marriage. Like, what does that have to do with anything? While returning from the gathering, spring flowers in the foothills of the Green Mountains. When State Detective Franzoni arrived from Montpelier about 10 o'clock, he joined the searchers who employed short sticks in pulling apart the litter which covered the spot where the skeletons were found. They turned over the twigs and moss. Bit by bit, they found many tiny bones. Later, they found pieces of canvas of similar weight to that used for ordinary house awnings. Portions of this, which were not too badly molded, showed stripes in contrasting colors of black and buff. They also found, so it's black and white striped awning. They also found 2 sets of small pulley blocks which with bits of rope such as used to raise and lower porch awnings. So it sounds like the entire awning assembly was used to maybe transport them originally or something, or wrap them up and then put them inside the duffel bag. An odd find was a small portion of the leatherette substance with a metal clip, the sort which is used to fasten side curtains onto an open touring cars. A piece of silk cloth found deep in the mold was accepted as being part of the woman's garment. This, the officer concluded, was the only evidence of clothing which could be found. Poking about beneath a pile of leaves, the probers found a place of heavy woolen blanket, about 2.5 feet long and about 1.5 feet wide. It was an army drab color and had a broad stripe across it near the hem. It had disintegrated to such a degree that it fell apart. The absence of any buckles, buttons, snaps, shoe eyelets, or remnants of heels gave the authorities basis for their theory that the victims had been nude. The investigators point to the absence of such articles to further substantiate their theory that the 3 were killed elsewhere. A bunch of feathers found matted beneath one of the skulls is puzzling. It's a puzzling angle which developed during the day's inquiry. It was suggested that the pillow might have been discarded before it was bloodstained. However, the officers doubted that merciless killers who would wipe out 3 persons apparently in a single stroke would have the kindness to provide a pillow for one of the victims. That's true. Bullet may aid search. State Attorney Conley is holding lead from one of the death bullets, which was found beside one of the skulls when it was picked up. Well, that's interesting. So if each skull had an entrance and an exit wound, I wonder how they had a bullet if the bodies were transported. State Attorney Conley is holding lead from one of the death bullets which was found beside one of the skulls when it was picked up last night. This lead is jacketed in, this lead is jacketed in copper and appears to be a .32 caliber. A copper jacket on a bullet of this caliber is not commonly used, and officers feel that the bit of evidence might prove to be some value if their almost hopeless search for the slayer or slayer in their search. It's hard to read because it's kind of blurry. I don't know if you guys can see that. But the spot where the skeletons were found, Wood Road, on the land of Luther Roscoe of New Haven. Roscoe was among those present during the investigation. He said he knew nothing of the finding of the skeletons until he read the morning newspaper. Roscoe declared that 4 years ago, this month, he sold some oak logs to Francis west of Salisbury. At the time he was drawing the logs out of the woods, the road was extremely in poor condition, and it was necessary to widen it at the point where the skeletons were found. He said he did not remember seeing any pile of rubbish, boughs, or pine needles at the spot where the bones were discovered. Roscoe also told the officers that a few years ago he had hauled logs down the road, and when he reached the spot where the skeletons were found, he was forced to lighten his load. He threw off a number of logs, some of which can still be seen about 3 feet from the impromptu grave. And he didn't see anything at that time. Edward Munson, who lives about a mile from the spot, said that in November 1932, he went deer hunting near the location where the bones were found and said he remembered noticing a disagreeable odor at the fork of the road a few feet away. However, he said he thought nothing of the matter, believing that some farmer might have hastily buried a dead farm animal in the infrequently visited place. Munson also said that during that same fall, his brother's wife, Mrs. Joseph Munson, who lived in the area, complained of the odor which came from the woods whenever the wind blew from that direction. Ugh. Mrs. Daig said this morning that she and her daughter had gone into the mountains east of their home for May flowers, particularly trailing arbutus. She said they found a considerable quantity and started home. As they walked along, they scraped their feet through the forest, covering of leaves and litter, searching for arbutus. Or is it arbutus? Who cares? Man, I don't know. It was while they were walking along thus she kicked what she at first believed was a stone. However, the blow caused a hollow sound, and bending down to see what she had disturbed, she was horrified to find herself peering into the empty skull of a human being. Wow. Her scream of alarm brought her daughter to her side. Together, they were gasped at the skull, and they saw what appeared to be 2 skulls. However, they were so frightened that they fled the woods to their home without further investigation. Mrs. Daig told her husband, but he discredited the story, like all husbands do. Oh, come on, you're kidding me. However, when she insisted that she had found human skeletons, he went to a neighbor's home and telephoned Sheriff Sweet. The sheriff called Dr. L.S. Walker, a Middlebury physician, and with state attorneys Cooley went to the spot indicated by the woman. The officer and physician gathered up what bones they could find in the semi-darkness and made their way back to the village. Cursory examinations revealed that each of the skulls had a bullet hole beginning in the forehead and extending through the back. So how did they get the one? Must have just trickled out or something. I don't know. Maybe they were shot at the scene. Although it seems like they were transported because they were wrapped inside duffel bag. Miss Perry, who spent the day-to-day visiting friends in the East Middlebury School, said she was frightened when it first saw the skull, but was much more frightened when she got home and thought about the nearness of the spot of her home and for how long the skeletons had been hidden there. Dr. Walker was reticent about discussing the skulls, but expressed the opinion that one was that of a man, probably a large man, and the other were those of a woman and a 20-year-old. Young woman about 20 years old, he said. He declared that she was unable to tell how long the bones had been hidden in the woods. The physician described the procedure to be taken to the state pathologist, saying that an attempt would be made to assemble the 3 skeletons. Theories of the crime are many. State Attorney Conley believes that some New York crime gang may have slayed a part, is unceremoniously dumping the bodies on the lonely wood road. His basis is his opinion on he bases his opinion on the fact that for many years during Prohibition, the back road through East Middlebury was used by bootleggers and rum runners as a route from Canada to New York. Would you take out a whole family? Jeez. The prosecutor thinks that gangsters might have turned off the main road and hastily buried the 3 bodies on the Little Hughes Woods Road. Yeah, it's back here. That's the main road, and then there's that Munson Road. Remember the Munson family that we were just talking about? It's like down in this area. And what they were looking for were dentists to identify the body. Not the bodies, but the dental work. And what's interesting, in 1931, there's a dentist that went missing with his whole family. And it's like some people think, well, hell, was that him? And he's the only dentist that would have been able, because nobody came forward. Yeah, they tell you everything back then. So let's see, I think they updated some stuff in this one. The following technical description of the tooth straightened appliance found on the upper lower jaws of one of the 3 skeletons in Vermont's triple murder mystery is printed in full by the Globe because investigator authorities believe it may prove vital. The description was written yesterday. That's so long ago. The older child is one with orthodontic appliances in place, was between 12 and 14, probably around 13. Condition of the teeth found to be excellent. They are exceptionally good quality, showing no evidence of caries, probably cavities. The maxillary arch form corresponds very nearly to the Holly chart 36. The 6 anterior teeth falling exactly on the line, while the bicuspids and molars are about 2 millimeters to the lingual. I mean, it's really in-depth description here. I don't think I'm going to go through it all, but yeah. Boston dentist, maybe Slayer. So there's this other, June 11th, possibly that the victims of the Middlebury, Vermont triple murder may have been members of the family of a Boston dentist who killed them himself and then destroyed his dental records. Was studied by investigators today. So that's kind of interesting, right? Wouldn't that be cool if that actually turned out to be what it was? So here are the Addison County This is one of them right here. So, Addison County Jane Doe was a woman found shot to death alongside 2 children. So that's the answer. It wasn't an adult male. It was a woman with 2 children. And so that makes me, it takes out the, the bootlegging thing. I mean, I doubt they would just go kill a mom and 2 kids. This seems like a man who killed his wife and 2 children, never reported them missing, and identifying these bodies will likely lead right to the killer. Don't you think? I mean, where is this guy? Unless he was killed and dumped somewhere else too, right? I mean, that's definitely a possibility. Yeah, so there you go. That is the Addison County Doe case. That's one of the ones that we've been trying to get done for a long time. And then when I went down to Southern Oregon last year to talk to the sheriff department about funding some case, a case or 2 that they've got, this is the one right here. I don't even know if you guys even know this one. But it's 4 killings in just 8 weeks, all apparently unrelated, have put residents of Klamath Falls on edge. I'm flipping scared. Let me just find the bulls. Yeah. The series of killings began July 5th with the death of 55-year-old Ronald Bowles, who suffered blunt force trauma to his head while his attacker held his girlfriend's face down in his home. Alright, I mean, does it show up again? I think that was all there was on that story. So a Rocky Point man was murdered early today at his home on Mount Lake Drive. Authorities say Ronald Bowles, 55, was the victim of foul play. A resident of the home at 32602 Lake Drive called 911 at 4:15 a.m. Klamath County District Attorney Caleb said the homicide could be drug related. A woman and Bowles lived at the home with 2 children ages 10 and 2. Caleb said a couple of people reportedly came to the house and a short time later Bowles was killed. And she lived, so there's a little bit of question about her in this one. Oops, Charleston Amy. I just put Charleston Amy's name. I was actually trying to get I copied this for some reason. But her name is on there because she got a spin attempt. There it is, Klamath Falls, Oregon. And I think there was a safe removed from the home, and the car was dumped in a reservoir. So I guess that's it. Man, they tear down the whole house? Hey, look at that. It used to be a house right there. And now it's gone. This happened in 2009. That's 2011. So, and in that case, there's a, cigarette butt, and they're going to check that out and see where it leads, because the DNA does not match any single person that they've looked at in the investigation. So who knows? Again, see that, everybody? We're making a difference, just like other people. Well, here's the thing: is there aren't a lot of YouTube channels that literally actually go out and try to make a difference. That's what we do here. And I know it's like, oh, Gray, you're just tooting your horn. Well, you got to sometimes, right? Like, you got to say that we make a difference. The channel as a whole donates a ton of money to charities. We built up a DNA fund, and we're actually trying to use it using Identifinders International to help solve cases. Jane and John Doe's, murder victims, whatever. Any unidentified person. And I think that's kind of what the goal should be for everybody. But it seems like it's not really. It's not really like that. Let's see. I love news stories, especially old ones. Well. Hey, it's S-Jab. he's never going to send me a PayPal again because I screwed him over. His face showed, or not his face, but something showed up on there. Yeah. Anyways, thanks. S-Jab. Yeah, well, woo!
To that, trumpet, Gray, you deserve
That's what
it.
I'm talking about. And thank you, Charles and Amy and TTJO on PayPal. TTJO. Charles and Amy. TTJO. Charles and Amy. Got it. Oh wait, you get more. You get one more each. TTJO. All right. It would be nice if other channels would do the same. Yeah, wouldn't that be amazing if everybody was doing it? Wow. Like the DNA Coalition. I mean, it feels good to do it on your own channel, though. But it'd be cool if every channel was trying to do their own thing like that. You know? About what? You can ask a question about this case, yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean? Can you ask questions yet? What kind of a? What a weird question. Just ask the question. What is it? So all three of the people, it was a mother and two children, were shot in the temple. And it looked like there was an awning used to wrap them up at some point, and then they're put in duffel bags. Well, I think they think that because nobody's come forward that would say, oh, wow, so-and-so is missing. And back then, you know how there isn't really newspapers that spread around. I mean, it's not like today, the internet, right, where you can just say something and boom, somebody in Europe heard about it. So they think that it was out of state because none of the local people or anybody know any of these bodies. What was the question? It better not be about Kiely, I'll tell you that. We're on to other things. So go ahead. What is it, Zozo? Go ahead. Well, they had to be able to read Amy Celeste because the newspapers back then had like 200,000 words a page. I mean, you'd spend the entire day reading those things. It was unbelievable. I'm waiting for the question. The show's been held up. Waiting for the question. Yeah, we already went over that, Colin. So, and you're just being a troll again by the way you're saying it. All right, so if we can get the questions in. I don't know where Mary Lou is. Not here. Zozo, where's your question? We're waiting. The show's been held up. Typing it. What is it, an 8-paragraph? What kind of a weird... Then why are you asking that? You didn't have a question, but you said, can we ask questions now? Was there people message you? Hey, I need to ask Ray some questions. Hey, ask Ray if I can ask questions. God, what a strange. Wow. Let's see. Lido, yeah, it's pretty great. I didn't even know. Man, that's some strange shit right there, I gotta be honest. Why is Craig pronounced Craig? I don't know. Shouldn't it be Craig? Wishing B is such a great thing to do. Huh? Yeah. Oh, I think she's complaining because of all of the meaningless questions that were asked during the previous case. So she thought she'd bring it up on this one, as if it was a clean comparison. Let's see. So the ones in the duffel bag were young man. No, there were a mother and 2 children. They had it wrong. I think the man was actually the woman later. The first, they didn't get it right at the originally. And I think they were testing one of the kids, I think, because that would lead to, I mean, there'd be a better chance of a relative, and then that would also lead to the mother as well. It was just more whining. Yeah. More complaining. God, Gray doesn't let me ask questions. He doesn't let me ask about what color shoe the person had on. I don't. Yeah. All right, so here we go. We're going to switch over to the, what is it? Yeah, we just did Ronald Bowles, right? So that's that case. They're testing a cigarette butt. The DNA on it doesn't match anybody else, but it was found there in a spot where it could have something to do with it. Okay? I don't know what the meaning of life is. I don't have any idea. So how about this one? This is something current right here. So this guy named Harold Lee Wynn was killed. Harold Lee Wynn, 51, died November 16, 2021 at his home. He was born October 29, 1970 to Luther Allen Wynn and Eva Wynn. This is his obituary right here. And he died on the 16th. And then we got this one right here. Wife charged with murder in McDonald County.
Prosecutors charge a McDonald County, Missouri woman with murdering her husband. This is KOIM News at 6. Investigators say Don Wynn is charged with second-degree murder and armed criminal action. They say on Tuesday, deputies responded to a home on Pleasant Grove Road,
me, I didn't do
west of
anything
Anderson.
wrong.
When they arrived, they found Wynn's husband, Harold Lee Wynn, dead from a gunshot wound to the head. Authorities arrested Don Wynn at the scene.
Yeah. So a woman is charged with shooting to death her husband in McDonald County, Missouri on November 16, 2021. Deputies went to a home at, hey, I guess we can see it, in Missouri. Okay. I'll add that one in here. But yes, everybody can ask questions, but Zozo can't. Okay? So everybody ask as many questions as you'd like. Let's see. Don Renee Wynn, 49. She looks like the face at the end of Gray's show. What does that mean? You mean Lori? Looks like Lori? Let's see.
That's probably it. This is the house right here. Maybe? I don't know. God, let me just check that again. McDonald County. No, that is west of Anderson. Yep, so that's the property. I don't see a house there, though. There's no street view or anything. So deputies first on the scene secured the area and called supervisors and detectives to help in the investigation. Authorities found a .40 caliber pistol on the scene and took it into evidence. According to McDonald County Sheriff's Office, after the preliminary investigation, they arrested Dawn Renee Wynn. She's the victim's wife. They took her to the McDonald County Jail. Court documents state that the wife called 911. She told authorities that something brushing her face and gunshot woke her up. She alleged being next to Harold and facing him when the shot was fired. According to court documents, she told authorities after waking up she saw her husband in blood and called 911. The one in the middle? What the hell are you talking about? The big... You don't like that thing at the end? That's awesome. I'm going to play it every second. I'm going to have it spinning around on the screen. Detectives with the Sheriff's Office prepared a probable cause document and presented it to the McDonald County prosecuting attorney. Alright, I'm going to skip around in here a little bit. McDonald County woman facing murder charges after husband... charged after her husband's November 16th shooting. Yeah, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip, let's see, I'm going to move the December one, shots fired, called leads to murder. Okay. Reports of shots fired led to an investigation that resulted in warrants and a murder charge last week. On Tuesday, November 16th, McDonald County Sheriff deputies responded to an address on Pleasant Grove Road, west of Anderson, after receiving a report of a shooting. Upon arrival, deputies discovered Harold Lee Wynn dead from what reports indicate was an apparent gunshot wound to the head. First responders secured the scene and requested assistance from supervisors. After processing the scene and conducting a preliminary investigation, Wynn's wife, 47-year-old Dawn Renee Wynn, was taken into custody and transported to McDonald County Jail. All right, so then this is where it gets kind of stupid. Woman awaiting trial for murder in Missouri has now gone missing. Because believe it or not, a judge said, yeah, you know, you're cool, just pay, a little bail and we'll get a hold of you in a little bit, all right? You just sit around at home. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the show. Why we need to have, more money in law enforcement in general, the whole system. Okay? Because society has to be civil or we're screwed. McDonald County Sheriff Rob Evans tells KOAMS Shannon Becker Dawn Renee Wynn's bond is now revoked. Warrant for her arrest issued. All Leo agencies are alerted through the FBI's NCIC. Due to a recent Missouri Supreme Court ruling over objections from the prosecuting attorney, Wynn was out on bond and on pretrial release, where she had to check in by telephone. She is accused of murder and armed criminal action stemming from the shooting of her husband. She should be considered dangerous and should be armed. She is accused of shooting her husband in the back of the head while he slept. A woman charged with the murder of her husband in Missouri was out on bond, awaiting trial in Missouri. She has now disappeared from Pea Ridge, Arkansas. Part of the bond conditions required her to stay at her mother's residence. Well, as long as you tell her to stay. Okay, well, that's cool then. For a minute there, I didn't think they told her that she had to stay at her mom's house. Wow. Whew. Okay. And that clears up everything. They probably didn't even put an ankle bracelet, because as long as she said, I'll stay at my mom's, It was all good, right? Daughter of this lady's on the run right now. Right? So, daughter of missing murder suspect says mom shot dad in his sleep and left a suicide note as a distraction to escape. The daughter of a missing Missouri murder suspect minced no words about her defendant mother as authorities continue effort to track her down. Dawn Renee Wynn, 49, left a suicide note while out on bond, but she's too much of a coward to take her own life, Savannah Wynn told Law and Crime in an interview. The daughter believes authorities when they say her mother shot Savannah's father, Harold Lee Wynn, 51, in the back of the head while he slept on November 16th. Now investigators consider their suspect missing. While out on bond, Dawn Wynn was supposed to stay with her mother's in her mother's home in the Benton County city of Pea Ridge, Arkansas, according to KOAM. She had left a note and disappeared. The Benton County Sheriff's Office described Dawn Wynn as a possible danger to herself, and they did not mention the murder case. Maybe I can find where the mom lives. Let's see. There's not too many people with that name, I'm sure. Dawn Wynn. Possible danger. Okay, and then she's 39, they said. Yeah, there's multiple people. Oh, 49. Dawn Wynn. Wait, what's this was in Anderson, Missouri. They have her a little older. Dawn Renee. They don't even have her in here. Okay, well, there's one in Arkansas. Where did they say the mom lived? Slept in Missouri. Yeah, Pea Ridge, Arkansas. Maybe that's it. Address history. No. That's not it. Can't actually find one that's that age. There's a 50-year-old and one that's not listed. So I don't know. Yeah. Either way, it's in P. I already knew that. We just read that, Rainbow Zen Kitty. I'm looking for the actual house. Did you hear that part or? Let's see. Mother. So she was staying with her mother. That's where the crime happened. I mean, she could be anywhere now. It's crazy. Thank you, Georgina Stoliker. She described her mother's letter as a suicide note, but she believed her mother is using as a diversion. She called her mother a coward and too selfish to die by suicide. You know, like Jodi Arias. She asserted Dawn Wynn was a danger to others. Savannah said she learned about the suicide note through her maternal grandmother. She described the relationship as being in despair in the aftermath of the murder case. She's not someone that you need to trust, Savannah said of her mother. She's not just a missing person. Sheriff Evans has said defendant Wynn should be considered dangerous and possibly armed. There she is. Savannah, who said she grew up with 4 brothers, said that mother was verbally and psychologically abusive when they were growing up. Mom took over everything and pitted the children against their father, she said. And by the way, all these links are in the description. So you can go read every single article except the Addison County isn't. The marriage was a disaster, she said, the couple being on the verge of separation and divorce. Dawn Wynn was never physically abusive, the daughter said. The shock was not that she killed Savannah's father, but that she used the gun, she added. The slain man's ex-wife, Melanie Thomas, who works in New York County, South Carolina, remembered him warmly. They married young and grew apart, but she added she had nothing bad to say about Wynn, who went by Lee. Lee was a good man. Let's see. But Thomas and Savannah suggested other possibilities. Thomas told Law and Crime that Lee and Dawn had a business, Wynn's Plumbing, in Lancaster, South Carolina. She also suggested looking at the area Fort Lawn, South Carolina. Savannah said she personally grew up 13 years in the state, but she noted that only her father, not her mother, had family there. Another suggestion possibly was Florida. The couple was going to move to the city of Clearwater because Lee had a job offer in that area, his daughter said. Ultimately, the job was not worth moving for, but according to Savannah, she had heard that her mother discussed it during a murder case. Yeah. The events began on November 16, 2021, when Harold Wynn, 51, was shot in the back of the head. Wynn's husband reportedly died in bed next to her. She's 5'2", 150 to 170 pounds. Wynn claims she was awakened by the sound of gunshot and something brushing her face. Right. The pistol, apparently she sleeps with a pistol in her hand with her finger on the trigger, of course. Later, authorities found a .40 caliber semi-automatic pistol in between Harold's head and the pillow on which Wynn had reportedly slept. The pillow beneath Harold contained a hole 5 inches from the location of the gun. The couple's 2 children were sleeping in the living room. And there she is right there. Wynn failed to check in while out on bond, and she disappeared. Wynn's daughter said her mother's note referenced suicide. Dawn Wynn, everything we know about Missouri woman on the run after husband's murder, in the Independent. Dawn Renee Wynn, 49, is wanted by Missouri authorities after she vanished while waiting trial for the murder of her husband. I was just realizing why I was feeling kind of depressed. There we go. God, that music just kept... It was in the background. Miss Wynn is accused of shooting Harold Lee Wynn, 51, in the back of the head while he slept inside their fifth-wheel camper at the property in McDonald County. The mother of 5 is facing second-degree murder and armed criminal action charges and was released on a $100,000 bond on April 29. Local authorities have urged anyone with information about the whereabouts to call 417-223-4318 or 479-273-5532. Let's see. Mrs. Wynn's daughter, one of 5 children she shared with her late husband of 24 years, told the Independent on Friday that her mother had left behind suicide note before vanishing. My grandma told me she had no idea my mother was gone until she went to Dawn's room Sunday morning and said Dawn left suicide notes for all of us, me and my brother, and said she would drown herself, Savannah Wynn said. Well, you know what? I hope you did. Okay, you're a shitty person. All right. So anyway, she's out on the run somewhere or possibly in the water. I don't think Adventures with Purpose is going to make a special trip anywhere near a pond, anywhere near that area anytime soon. Maybe someday. I don't know. I didn't See, did I read that her first husband died? I didn't remember that part. Yeah. All right. So, are we going to be able to make it to another story? Let's see, where are we at here? Yeah, I don't know, you guys. We are freaks. Maybe I'll just save this other story for tomorrow. That's the one that I really wanted to get to, though. Nancy Eagleson. Yeah. We are freaks, that's right. So if you're out there, everybody, hit the like button or hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, whatever the hell you want to do. But do something for God's sakes. What do you mean? Christy Love. She was just giving you. What do you mean you don't know what that means? You know, it's just we're called the freaks here. No, we're the wrench is moderators. The green are people who are paid channel members, and the that's just one of our emojis. We're called the freaks, you know, like crime freaks. If it's offensive to you, though, you don't have to deal with it. Like, you know, go somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to need to get to the mug level, though, you guys. So probably about, we're about 80% of the new normal. Wouldn't need it. Wouldn't want to have another jail stint, though. I can tell you that. Because the problem is I'm going to be reading, and you know what happens when I'm reading, you guys. It goes like this. And we're already like this. Yep. Yeah, me too, Allie. But man, it's going to be brutal to read for 45 minutes with, you know, this. Yeah, we'll see. Jessica, I might save it for tomorrow or something. Yeah. Because it's you know, it's going to be longer, and you know, should I save it for a longer, you know, like another show to add, you know, create the content for that one? I don't know. I'm not sure what that means, Charles. Yeah, you have to speak English. Nobody has any idea what that means. These days, I think it's pretty methy. No bail anytime, anywhere, but go ahead and read it. Okay.
No
Alright, I guess we'll have to get to it.
Anywhere, but go ahead and read. Bomb.
And Julie, Anna, and Jessica Schubach. And yes, every one of you can ask questions, just not Zozo, okay? All right.
gosh, Gray.
That's so mean.
All right, you guys ready? This is in Ohio, the Dayton area. 1960. All right. Crazy. So here we go. Paulding girl 14 kidnapped and slain. This is in Paulding, P-A-U-L, like Spalding, but without the S on it. November 14th, 1960, a 14-year-old girl walking home with her 4-year-old sister was abducted last night by a man who pulled her into his car and sped off. The teenager's body was found about 2:30 a.m. today by 2 hunters in woods 8 miles northeast of here. The Paulding County Sheriff's Office and the Ohio Highway Patrol said it appeared the girl had been raped and then murdered. Deputy Sheriff Frank Shipman said the girl was identified as Nancy Eagleson of Paulding. The identity of the man was not known. Shipman said the teenager's sister ran into the home of a neighbor and told about the kidnap. The neighbor telephoned the police. The Van Wert officer of the state patrol said the 4 cars, I don't know what this was, let's see, the 4 of his cars were sent to the scene by request from Paulding. Turn that down a little bit. The patrol said that, let's see, 2 hunters, Joseph C.A. France of 38 Rural Route 1 of Paulding and Kenneth W. Nelson of 43 Paulding, found the body while hunting for raccoons. The body was found just off County Road 176. So I spent like hours on this one trying to get all the various. So it's just off of 176. So that's interesting. I have it right here though. Well, no, it was 111, just off 176. So where the hell's 78? 76. Oh, cool. All right. So maybe it's... Is this still 176 over? There's 111. That's weird. Look at that, how there's 111 up here and here. But now it makes sense that it might be right here. Alright, let's just see later though. So this is the town of Paulding right here. Sheriff's Office said that the officer's report on the cause of death has been made by the coroner. Let's see. Had been made by the coroner, nor was it positively determined. Was it a negative here? I didn't see that. Sheriff's Office said that no official report, on the cause of death had been made by the coroner, nor was it positively determined if the girl had been criminally assaulted. Paulding found his location in northwestern Ohio on the Ohio-Indiana line. Paulding County is located there. Manhunt for kidnapped slayer of young girl. Authorities in Ohio and Indiana today hunted the man in a big car who kidnapped and killed a 14-year-old girl Sunday. The only clues the officers had were provided by the 14-year-old sister of Nancy Eagleson. This is in the Tipton Daily Tribune. The girl who was slain. It was a man in a big car who got my sister, sobbed Cheryl Eagleson as she began to realize the tragedy. Paulding is an Ohio town in a county adjacent to the Indiana-Ohio border
east of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Cheryl and Nancy went to a movie while their parents were at work. Afterwards, they stopped at a restaurant for a soft drink and then started to walk to their home 5 blocks away. A man stopped his car and offered the girls a ride home, but they refused, Cheryl said, adding that the man grabbed Nancy and shoved her into the car. Cheryl said she ran as fast as she could to the home of John Larson, a neighbor. So what's weird is I was able to sort of find where John Larson, his address is at a church here. So I don't really know if that's where he lived, but the crazy part is I was able to find various things by looking at old newspaper articles, and this is the movie theater, and it's still there. It's just not, look at that. Is that crazy or what? I mean, that looks like it was frozen in time the day those girls left the theater. I mean, that looks like 1960 written all over it, right? Or 40, and whatever the hell it was built, 1949, 50, something like that. So that was the movie theater right there. And then I think there's a restaurant or something. It could have been right here, the store that she went to. And then they were just walking this way. And apparently right near this bridge is when things went down right here. Or actually, I think it was this bridge right here. Right there. So, yeah, so there's the movie theater, and then to get to where they live, you'd have to go up a block and then kind of head over like that. Let's see. So Cheryl said she ran as fast as she could to the home of John Larson. And now I gotta find the rest of it. This page 6. That's 3. 5. Continued on page 6. That's the same one. Page 2. Page 2 again. 3. 3. So maybe it doubles. 4, 4, right? Yeah. 5. 5. And 6. There it is. Phone the sheriffs, who mobilized all officers he could in the town of 2,300 population. His 3-man department, town police, and 2 highway patrolmen soon combed the area. 2:30 a.m. today, 2 Spalding men hunting raccoons found Nancy's body just off a county road. Sheriff John Keeler said there was no evidence of a struggle, and the place where the body was found, the body was taken to St. Joseph's Hospital at Fort Wayne for an autopsy. The girl's father works days and also at nights as a bowling alley helper. Their mother works in a drive-in restaurant. Okay. So, body of girl found in woods, kidnapped, slain. 2 hunters stumbled upon the body of a teenage girl early today who had been forced into a car Saturday. The victim was Nancy Eagleson, 14, of Paulding. Sheriff John Keeler said it was homicide, but he could not disclose the nature of the girl's injuries. An autopsy was performed at St. Joseph's Hospital, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Paulding is a town of 2,500. The sheriff said the Paulding high school freshman was dragged into the passing automobile as she and her sister, about 4 to 5 years old, walked down a city street Sunday night. The body was found some 8 miles northeast of town, near the Hamlet junction of Ohio 111. Keeler said the young girl ran into a nearby house and called police after seeing Nancy pulled into the car. The girl's parents are Mr. and Mrs. Donald Eagleson. The younger sister, Cheryl, 5, said she and Nancy had been to a movie and were on their way to a restaurant when the man tried to lure both of them into the car. The girl said the man dragged Nancy into the car when they refused. She described him as a big man in a big car and believed he was wearing glasses. Okay, now we're on to the 15th. Those last ones were all on the 14th. Similarities between two slangs in Illinois and Ohio prompted authorities today to wonder if a killer might be traveling about the nation. Captain James McMahon, chief detective of Chicago, commented on the likeliness between slaying of Gloria Kowalczyk, 9, in a forest preserve outside Chicago and Nancy Eagleson, 14, of Paulding, Ohio. McMahon said both he and Sheriff John Keeler at Paulding noted the similarities in a telephone conversation. But despite the similar facts of the cases, McMahon said he didn't plan to send a man to Ohio immediately, but if Keeler ever should catch a suspect, and McMahon emphasized the Chicago Police Department would dispatch a detective. So they thought maybe there was a similarity. Sex deviates checked in murder case. Law enforcement authorities Tuesday checked all known sex criminals in the search for a man who seized 14-year-old Nancy Eagleson, raped her, then shot her in the face. So now we get some facts. It's just sick, right? Yeah, what do you mean, is that a word? Yeah. Sheriff John Keeler said he was convinced the slaying was the work of a sex maniac. He called on the sheriff's offices in this sparsely populated western Ohio area and in nearby Indiana to be on the lookout for strangers.
Small reading wave challenge $2 bucks.
I'm just reading the comments.
Ocean wave.
Crazy. Small reading wave challenge. Hey, thanks, Jessica. Yeah, maybe it's the quality of reading, but I'm trying my best, all right. Sheriff John Keeler said he was convinced the slaying was the work of a sex maniac, which is really what they call a serial rapist now. He called on all sheriff's offices in that sparsely populated western Ohio area and in nearby Indiana to be on the lookout for strangers. Thanks, Billy Giuliani. And thank you, Jessica Schubach and Eugenie. All right. The FBI has been contacted but not entered the case. Keeler spent the day talking to residents of the village of 2,300 persons. He wanted to know if any of them saw the man who offered Nancy and her 5-year-old sister Cheryl a ride Sunday night as they were walking home from a movie. Cheryl fled when a stranger dragged her sister into the car. She said the car was light-colored and the driver wore glasses. So now we got a large man. Wait, hell, where was Ed Kemper at this time? So we got large man wearing glasses and a large car. Leaves on the ground in the remote wooded area where the killer raped his victim, then shot her several times in the face with a small caliber pistol. Man, just think about that girl's last few moments of life. Hey, thanks, Amanda Torrey and Jen Allison. Man, that's just, God, those people are just sick. I mean, that's similar to like Abby and Libby, right? Like they're just the last moments of their lives are just absolutely brutal, Crazy. But the sheriff said the best lead he had was the description of the car driven by the killer. Okay, so that one's done. Now we're on to the 17th here. This is another, I found this old archive newspaper site just for Paulding. I was kind of at my wit's end, like, man, all these articles are saying the same, similar things with a little bit. But then, boom, I looked for a local newspaper, and my God, they actually had one just for Paulding. So you know that's going to have a hell of a lot more information in it. So I got really pumped when I saw that. So, I know, little things for little minds. So that's her right there. So this is going to have more information on it. So hold on, it's kind of small. So a 14-year-old Paulding High School freshman. Now there's new information, right? Who was abducted Sunday night by a big man in a big car, was criminally arrested before she was shot to death at the point where her body was found a few feet off of a lonely road. An autopsy Monday morning in St. Joseph's Hospital for Fort Wayne disclosed. The child, Nancy Lee Eagleson, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Donald E. Eagleson, who I couldn't find. I got some crazy information on them. I found on Ancestry where her parents got divorced, from extreme cruelty and something else. It was weird. Made me wonder. The child, Nancy Lee Eagleson, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Donald E. Eagleson, who reside on Klingler Road. Okay, so Klingler Road is right here. This road right here is Klingler Road. But if they were crossing this bridge, then they could live here or up here. Don't really know 100%, but look, that's 111 right there. That's mentioned. That 111 goes all the way out to where the body was found, 8 miles away, right over here. Look at that, 111, 111, 111. It's pretty crazy, right? So apparently the neighbor lived right here, and look at right there. There's 111. That little, can you see that? It's tiny, but so right over the bridge is 111. You cut up here, you're on Klingler Road, which is also 111. Nuts. Nuts. About 2:30 a.m. Monday, 2 raccoon hunters. All right, I think I missed the part there. Hey, Cairo, what's going on, buddy? Oh, thanks, man. He said, just cause Gray covers everything, popular or not, views or not, he cares about the victims regardless of case popularity. Well, there you go. I mean, I do pay for it in the the views and whatnot, but who gives a shit, right? If you're somebody out there that doesn't care about anything other than the popular ones, I don't really want you around anyways, okay?
Popular or not, views
Yeah.
or not.
But thank you,
Cares
Cairo.
about the victims regardless
Thanks for the
of case
comment.
popularity.
Let's see. Paulding was shoved into an automobile at about 7:30 p.m. So that happened right here. Let's put it right here. 7:30 p.m. shoved in car. And it's right on that area right there. Where are the puppies? It said. Came upon the girl's body in a wooded area approximately 8 miles north. The girl had been shot in the neck. With part of the bullet found in her forehead. Wow. According to Dr. GL, so it must have been an upward shot, like that, and then up, like up in their forehead. Indications were from the amount of blood at the scene that the child had been taken to the wooded area, which was approximately 1 mile south of Junction and only 100 feet from Country Road number 176. All right, so where the hell is this Junction? I think it's right in this area. There it is, Junction. So let's see, 1 mile. Okay, that's a mile. But they would have done it driving. So here's what they would have done. They would have went like this. I guarantee it. They always measure everything like that. And guess what? That is 1.19. So really close. And then they're saying 100. Yeah, what was that? 100 feet from Country Club Road, number 176. So there is 176, and look at 111 goes right there, and then this little 176, maybe it's right in this wooded area. Wouldn't that be absolutely crazy? That makes sense. And 100 yards in, we'll do the yards here, right there. That's crazy. I bet that's been there. Let's see what happens if we go back to 19, see? Well, that's 1994, and that same little patch is right there. I would bet money that that is the patch of woods. I would absolutely bet money on that. No street view, of course. And if we go back, look, it's even there in 1985. See, you can see it. Man, that's crazy. Let's go back. 1984, too crappy. But look at that. 1985, you can make out that same chunk of woods. It's a little bit bigger, but... yeah, so the person just drove here and put her in there, and those people raccoon hunting found her just in that random chunk of woods there. Wow, unbelievable. Are you guys paying attention? I don't know what the French have to do with this one, Alifair. Just, yeah, I think that was the right place. So it was indications were from the amount of blood at the scene that the child had been taken to the wooded area, which was approximately 8 miles or 1 mile south of Junction and only 100 feet from the Country Road number 176 before being shot. So she was shot while in those woods, and she was sexually assaulted in a really dark outside, in the woods, a psycho. Man, jeez. An autopsy performed in Fort Wayne by Dr. Lewis E. Schneider disclosed that the girl had been raped, Paulding County authorities reported. The girls had been to a movie and stopped at Johnson's restaurant before starting towards home, some 6 blocks away. Nancy Lee and her little sister had gotten to within about 1 block of their home. Really? When an automobile, described by the smaller child as a big car, pulled alongside the girls, and a man asked if they wanted to ride. Little Cheryl said. When they refused the ride, a big man in a white shirt wearing glasses jumped out of the car, forcing Nancy into the car and sped away. Well, here's what we know for sure is this guy didn't only do this one time. So he's a killer, and he's killed again. The smaller girl ran to the nearby home. We don't know. I mean, it's not 100% because, like, April Tinsey, John Miller, that was his only victim, did something similar. The smaller girl ran to the nearby home of Mr. and Mrs. John Larson, authorities said, and told Mrs. Larson what had happened. Mrs. Larson was known to the little girl inasmuch as she had served as a babysitter for the Eagleson children. Authorities added that the kidnapping scene was well lighted by 2 large street lights. And Nancy Lee struggling against, it's really cut off words and stuff right here. Nancy Lee struggling against something, pushed into the automobile, dropped her pocketbook at the scene. So Nancy, right where she was abducted, her pocketbook hit the ground. Authorities from throughout the area, including the sheriff officials, village police, and Defiance and van were State Highway patrols immediately began a search for the Eagleson girl, with the raccoon hunters finding the body approximately 6 hours later. So they were looking for her, but the hunters found her 6 hours later. They told authorities that they had just entered the woods when the dogs acted strangely, leading them to the body. Mrs. Affiant said they rushed to the road and upon seeing patrol car coming, hailed it down and reported their finding. The slain girl's mother is the former Betty Lou Hardisley, so I looked her up on Ancestry. Daughter, trying to find the exact house. There was another house in the town, but it wasn't the one. Daughter, postmaster, and Mrs. E. something or other. Okay, let me go to the next page 3. Oh, there it is. Authorities reported Monday night that they are without clues in the case. Surviving the kidnapping victim, in addition to the parent's sister and maternal grandparents, is the paternal grandfather, Roy Eagleson. The child was a member of the First Christian Church. The body is that of the Croswell, is at the Croswell funeral home. So, wow. Yeah, a lot more detail on that article there. Then we're back to newspapers.com. This one was clipped by somebody else, but it was there. Press search for Ohio girl's killer. Let's see. While grief-stricken friends and neighbors of the Eagleson said paid their last respect to authorities, 14-year-old victim was pulled into a car Sunday evening as she walked home. 5.5 hours after her abduction, 2 raccoon hunters found Nancy's body in a wooded area near here. You just won this? What did you just win? What are you talking about? What did you just win? Thank you, though. Oh, you just won that on a slot machine. I see. Which one were you playing? Roulette? The freaks can have it, because I love them. All right. Well, thank you. Very cool, very cool. She's in Vegas. So we got another one from that same source. A lot more detail on it again.
The freaks can have it, 'cause I love
Welcome, Stephanie. All right. All right, so we're going to continue on here. Police plead for identity of cars in search. So now the police are saying, hey, people need to come forward. It's a little bit like the Kiely case where nobody's talking. Sheriff John Keeler today issued a plea for information which may be the missing link to the positive identification of the killer's auto in the investigation of the brutal murder of Nancy Eagleson Sunday night, November 13th. This article is on the 24th. Sheriff Keeler stated that the people have been wonderful. Of reporting their suspicions. Investigations are being made from more than 50 tips, which came from phone or personal contact to the sheriff's office. The most important information that is needed at the present time is in regards to anyone who was on State Route 111 east of Paulding from 7:15 to 8 p.m. Sunday night, November 13th. The police are positive that motorists who had nothing to do with the crime were on the road but have not volunteered this information to officials. Even though you saw nothing, please contact the sheriff's office if you were on the road during this time, either coming to or leaving Paulding. You may not realize you have maybe the missing link that would be to the identity of the killer's auto. The officials already know the identity of several cars, but among the missing autos is one who headed east. Now here it gives some more information about the crime scene. Look at that. Who headed east, stopped at the bridge to let an oncoming car cross while the two girls were on the Flat Rock Bridge. I mean, this is just crazy detail right there. So they're actually saying, like, the guy was right here, maybe, and then let a car pass. He might have been behind him. I don't really know for sure. So the girls made it past the other side of the bridge then. And they said it was 1 block from their home, so they might have lived right here, you know, right there or right there. I would actually say they lived right around in this area, and almost where I randomly have the pin. Yeah, so let me get back to that. Yeah, it's a lot of information. All right, so the officials already know the identity of several cars, but among the missing autos is one who headed east, stopped at the bridge to let an oncoming car cross. So it was heading east. Okay, it was one. Let's see. Let me try that again. Already know the identity of several cars, but among the missing autos is one who headed east, stopped at the bridge to let, so maybe the car that car let cross is the killer's automobile, not the car that they're looking for here. They're looking for the witness vehicle. So if that car was heading east, the other car was coming from east and then would pass the girls, right? Stopped on the bridge to let an oncoming car cross while the two girls were on the Flat Rock Bridge. Please, if you are on the road or know anyone who was on the road, contact Sheriff's Office immediately. Don't be the cause of letting the killer continue on the loose. I liked the way they wrote this thing back then. They don't usually do that. The Sheriff's Department, along with the aid of other officials, it's almost like a Grady Judd type of thing. Officials are continuing their around-the-clock investigation in the killing, hoping for a break in the case. The local Sheriff's Department is being assisted by Geo Kerwin of Toledo, who had 31 years in investigation and has been associated with the police for 38 years. Corporal Wolf Findley, technician of criminal investigations with 20 years experience. Doug Ziegler, defiance deputy, who has been trained at the FBI school in Washington, D.C. Wayne Pollock, chief deputy of Vanvert. Okay, so anyways. The week-long investigation into the slaying of Nancy Eagleson, 14, of Paulding High School freshman, has failed to produce a concrete clue. Despite investigation into the activities of scores of persons, authorities are working without really promising lead at the moment. But as they point out, such an investigation can take an unexpected charge without much notice, and Sheriff John Keeler, as his crew of investigators, are hoping for a break in the case. The officers were heartened by an offer of a $1,000 reward for information leading to Nancy's killer. John DeMuth, the prosecuting attorney, made the announcement this week that a reward of $1,000 is being offered. The high school freshman was buried Thursday following. Let's see. Nancy was dragged. Okay, Nancy's death. That 9-year-old girl. Let me see. The high school freshman was buried Thursday following a service attended by over 500 persons. The slaying has attracted national attention, including that of a Chicago police officer who was who suspected that Nancy's death and that of a 9-year-old schoolgirl in Chicago might be connected. Nancy was dragged into a car near her home as she and her sister Cheryl 5 were returning from a movie at about 7:45 p.m. November 13th. Cheryl ran screaming to a neighbor's home and police were notified. 7 hours later, Nancy's body was found in a woods near Junction 8 miles east of there by 2 coon hunters. The girl had been sexually molested. The search for the killer has been underway since. And then this one's in December. Let's see. Paulding man cleared as rumors prompt test. So this guy was like, persistent but unfounded rumors prompted one Paulding man to request a lie detector test to clear him from suspicion. Although he had heard rumors linking a Paulding businessman with the crime all week, Virgil Johnson Restaurant did not learn until 11 p.m. or restaurateur did not learn until 11 p.m. Friday that it was he. Johnson, who had been with the wife at a theater when Nancy, a close friend of his own 13-year-old daughter, was abducted from a Paulding street near her home Sunday night, November 13th. On Sheriff Keeler's advice, Johnson volunteered to take the polygraph test Saturday morning and was cleared of any connection. Anxious that the friends of Paulding County will know that he has been cleared by the test. Yeah, you know how that's like that on YouTube. You got these idiots that go out and start accusing everybody all the time, and they just want some official to come forward to say something. Okay, I guess that one didn't work. That's strange. Alright, hold on a second. So this is now. I mean, there was no more, it just kind of stopped being covered a long time ago. Application filed to exhume teen girl's remains after 60 years. I mean, isn't that the coolest damn thing in the world? I mean, she was brutally assaulted. I bet you they can, it's not a huge odds, but there's a chance that if they exhume her, they might be able to get some DNA out of the body. And, wow, I mean, how crazy. The family of a teen girl murdered in Paulding, Ohio decades ago is hoping that modern technology can identify a killer. On November 13th, 1960, 14-year-old Nancy Eagleson was walking home from a movie with her sister. A truck pulled alongside the girl and offered a ride. The driver sped off with Nancy, leaving her sister behind. Nancy's body was found hours later. The technology to analyze DNA was not available in the 1960s, or the 70s, or the 80s, or hell, even part of the 90s. Like this, anyway. But Nancy's family is hoping common, albeit expensive, procedure can track down Nancy's killer. Before that can happen, a judge will have to approve the disinterment of Nancy's remains. The paperwork has been filed and money has been raised with the help of the nonprofit, the Porchlight Project. So that's the one that James Renner does. But we do the same damn thing. That's what we do. ABC 21, Tom Powell. I was actually thinking of getting a hold of him because, maybe we can, maybe pay part of it or something. Because they have to pay for it, the disinterment and the genetic genealogy and the extraction of DNA and that kind of stuff. Whoa!
Because this is a crime, the family, but also against the community as well. Paulding, Ohio is a beautiful, wonderful community, great people, and they deserve to not have this dark cloud kind of looming overhead.
There are new developments tonight in a cold case we've featured previously here on the News at 7. Nancy Eagleson here was on her way home from a movie in Paulding, Ohio on November 13, 1960, when she was kidnapped, raped, and then murdered. Earlier this year, our Tom Powell spoke with family members who want to exhume Nancy's body. They want to see if experts might be able to uncover DNA evidence that could finally lead to her killer. And now we've learned they are one step closer to making that happen tonight. One of Nancy's surviving sisters has filed an application in Paulding County Probate Court to disinter Nancy's
WTA
remains.
21.
As Tom reports
Links
now
in the
from the digital
description.
desk, the family's getting help from a group called the Porchlight Project.
I'm joined now by Nick Edwards with the Porchlight Project. Thanks for coming on, Nick. We appreciate it. First of all, if I could have you explain to our viewers what the Porchlight Project does when it comes to cold cases.
So the Porchlight Project is a nonprofit organization primarily focused on the advocacy.
Man, his voice sounds familiar. It sounds a lot like a podcaster that's out there.
Of victims' families. You know, we have these cold cases that
Actually
have,
sounds a lot like one of the guys from what is that one? The Garage? Shit, what are they called? True Crime Garage, or is that what they're called? Like Nick or the other guy? Sounds just like him.
lasted and gone unsolved, unanswered
Wow.
for
That's
a lot of
identical.
them decades now.
That's
And
unbelievable.
the family members need some help. They need some justice for their loved ones. They
The
don't want their
captain.
loved ones to be forgotten, and that's where we step in and get involved. And we want to become somebody that assists law enforcement on these cold cases.
No
and we
thanks,
have
Alistair.
been
No
able to
thanks.
do so on several
The
so
freak-like
far in
project.
just the few years that we've been around.
All right, let's shift then specifically to the Nancy Eagleson case.
No,
this
that's not
is
him, but it sounds just like
1960, November 13th. Our viewers know
Oh,
it
think
well.
anyways.
Need
Hold
some
on.
justice
Oh, it
for
is Nick.
their loved ones. They don't want.
Oh, so maybe that guy is the guy. Well, hold on. That's not what they look like, though. I mean, his name is Nicholas. Is that the guy from True Crime Garage? Is Cairo, are you still out there? What are those two guys' names? Hold on, let me do it. Yeah, Nick and the captain. So is that him? Yeah, I think that, because the captain's the one I've met a couple times. I bet that is him. So is that, no, but is that the guy that we're, because that's exactly what his voice sounds like. All right, so my brain was on the right track. If that is the same Nick. Is that his name right there? Nick Edwards? I mean, look at Nicholas Edwards. That could be him.
Want their loved ones to be
And that is his voice,
forgotten,
right?
and that's where
Listen
we
to it.
step in and get involved. And we want to become somebody that assists law enforcement on these cold cases, and we have been able to do so on several so far in just the few years that we've been around.
All right, let's shift then specifically to the Nancy Eagleson case. This is 1960, November 13th. Our viewers know it well because of a couple stories that we've done on the case. There's been a development here with the filing in Paulding County Probate Court. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, what we're trying to do, and this is at the request of Nancy's family, she has two sisters that are really spearheading this whole.
Although what's weird is this is a James Renner thing, so I don't, it's odd that it would be.
Adventure of trying to get justice for their sister, even 62 years after the murder.
No, you don't want to, S-Jab. I'm you know, especially on the Delphi case, it's just really crazy.
And
not even close.
They would like to exhume their sister's body. We want to figure out if there's any evidence using
They're really
current
big,
day
though.
technology that was not available
Just
back
saying.
in 1960 to see if we can finally get some answers for the Eagleson family. This is a crime against the family, but also against the community as well. Paulding, Ohio is a beautiful, wonderful community, great people, and they deserve to not
But I mean,
have this
I think this is great what they're doing
dark
here. though.
cloud kind of looming overhead of their community.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. This was a crime against the community. I've talked to people there who say after this happened, they started locking their doors. After this happened, they started worrying about something like this. I'm wondering if you can talk about how the case has impacted you and as you've gone through and answers that were...
I have met many victims' family members from throughout the years, and This was extra difficult for me because I did interviewed or met with somebody extensively that was physically present when their loved one.
Let me see what this says. Yeah, so it's something to do with audio chuck. I don't know how how it's all organized, but you know, because that's what Colleen always they get funded by audio chuck for some of their cases, right? I think we're right up there, though. We do just as a large portion of money for them, because we've had I think 32, at least way over $30,000 so far into the DNA fund that we've done. So, and we have 3 cases that I went over earlier are, we're in the works right now, so that's cool. All right. So, hold on. I guess there's a dispute right now going over the Kiely Ryan or Kiely. What I always call the weird part is the last name is it always the Rodney, but I always think Romney for some reason. Well, I don't know why, because I don't like the guy. I know, just jab. You don't need to type it in 2 seconds. I got it. Anyways, let's see. Killer could still be alive, maybe in the 80s. Well, let's say in the 60s, he could still be alive easily. Like if he was born in like 1935, he'd be 85 or 87, right? Yeah, the Rodney part is a little bit weird. Oh, it's okay. S-jab. But man, you guys are so quick. Yeah, he definitely could be alive. Likely he'll be somebody that died in 92 on a street somewhere, and some crazy, or he was somebody that has 9 kids, and nobody knew that he was a killer all those years. But people that do what this guy did, normally they don't just do one victim. So, anyways, I hope you guys found that one interesting. I did. I mean, it's crazy because you can actually do the walk here. I mean, you go back to, you could start right here at the theater. They go down the street like this. They're just walking. I mean, just picture. You can just kind of imagine. Close your eyes. Trust me. Close your eyes. Oh, well, thanks, Velver. I actually thought that was 50. I've never seen an 80. Anyways, so they're walking along. Look how old all this stuff looks, right? And then maybe they cross that street right there, and then they walk this direction, stop at a restaurant somewhere around in here somewhere probably. Then they they're on that sidewalk right over there. And this town I bet you this has not changed at all. Every building here looks like it's 100 years old. I mean, look at this thing. Every one of them. And let's see, let me get up in the air and get onto this street. There wasn't an arrow there. And then they started walking this way, probably over there on the sidewalk. Then they cross another street right here. Look how old all these buildings are. And they just walk like this. And see, in your mind, when you're thinking of the story, you'll have more of a visual of what it was probably. Look at all these houses are probably from before that time. Every one of them. Yeah, okay, so we're in the right place. Still walking. Down the road, they're probably just having fun, And then apparently, right in this area, when the girls were walking over the bridge, a car coming, heading east, so that means behind the girls, waited as a car over here passed them. And maybe they believe that that car ended up turning around, but it could be, though, that the car that waited is the one that they're looking for, because he was behind the girls, but waited for the car. Yeah, okay, now that makes sense. Watch. See, strategically, as the girls are walking this way, this car stops because he wants to abduct them, but doesn't want a witness around. So he allows that car to pass, pretending, oh, the bridge is too narrow. It's too narrow. I'm being kind. Go ahead. Then the car drives by, and at that moment, when he goes forward, the girls are on the bridge. Now they're alone, and that car isn't going to be watching anymore. Then he abducts one, probably right in this area, and then heads up this way, drives 8 miles, and stays on 111. I mean, look at 111. I mean, we don't know if he stayed on 111, but it ends up where 111, and then 100 yards off of 176 in the woods, and he raped this girl, and then he shot her in the face, in the neck, and then the bullet went up to the forehead. I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, that's amazing, because it actually seems similar to a lot of other cases too, but it's a little different too, right? I mean, it actually has a little bit of a Delphi feel to it, doesn't it? 2 girls walking, and this creepy guy following, but in this case only gets one of them. They're still walking, and then right here she probably drops the purse, and then he speeds off and then hurries to the left, and then the little girl, sprints over to maybe this area here and tells somebody, hey, my sister was kidnapped. Unbelievable. Insane. So you guys have a picture in your mind, because as a matter of fact, this is the movie theater. If you came in late, the movie theater, look at this thing. I mean, just an old remnant. It's probably just there as a historical. This was obviously made in the 50s or late 40s. Look at this thing. So that's where they were, in this movie theater. Then they're just watching a movie. I think it was a John Wayne movie or something. I read that somewhere else, but unreal. We'll just keep an eye on this one and see what happens with the exhumation. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. Hit that like button if you would. Hit the subscribe button if you're interested. If not, the hell with you. I'm just kidding. Oh, man. That's crazy. Yep. There we go. That's great, man. That's awesome. See, this is just random, but the Blazers, they actually were going to have their broadcasters sit at home and do the play-by-play, sitting in a studio watching a television, going, "Oh, and he scored!" And the fans in Portland were just, "What a load of shit! You guys pay millions of dollars, and you want to save a couple $100,000 on freaking, I mean, they got to go to the show." And then they just reversed their stance today because people said, "You guys are idiots." I mean, you have the radio guy sitting in a booth here in Portland. Yeah, okay. So I just saw a thumbnail where they reversed that. Good. Excellent. God, how lame. Jesus, can you believe that? You know what's weird is I thought we boosted up membership quite a bit, but remember all the people that have been joining and stuff, but we actually lost 40 in the total. That's just weird. I thought it was all these people were joining, you know. But I guess some people were just like, eh. Anyways, I appreciate all of you that are channel members. Thank you for your super chats tonight, PayPals and whatnot. And then the Velvet Army, thanks for your win. And thank you on PayPal to Heidi Carlson, Jan Allison, or Jan H, and TTJO, and Charleston Amy. Then on... Well, by the way, did you guys find those stories interesting? Huh? Oh, you got your Tumblr? Sweet. Awesome. All right, so thank you to Alifair M, Tawny Lee, Kathy Freidenmaker, Tina Susser, Eugenie, Sarita, Charleston Amy, Half Rudder, Scott Holland, Billy Juliana, LM, as in Element Open, Frazzled Cat, Jessica Schubach, LM, Daryl Montgomery, Amy Celeste, Mike S, Alley Cake, MM, Charleston Amy, Brianna Props, S Jab. Wait, S Jab, and then Rodney, Georgina Stoliker, Billy Juliana, Jessica Schubach again, Billy Juliana, Eugenie, Amanda Torrey, as in mandatory. You get it? Jan Allison, Large Family Living, Cairo, with a comment, said, just cause gray covers everything, popular or not, views or not, he cares about the victims regardless of case popularity. Oh, and that is the reality, right? Like, here's the thing is, why would I cover a case like the one I just did if I didn't give a damn about giving cases some publicity that never get talked about, right? Because I could still, right now, I could be talking about Kiely Rodni, and I'd have 900 people watching, and I'd be, ooh, now look it over here, and it's not really that cool, you know? What good does it do at this point? She's been found, and now let the investigators tell us why, and then we'll revisit it when there's an update. But there's nothing to be done. This case here is cold. Nobody's talking about it. It's interesting that they're going to get some DNA, and maybe there'll actually be an answer at some point. It'll be amazing. Then the Velvet Army with a cat eye and a half, and Stephanie. So thank you guys very much. And let's do the spin. We'll do a... Let's see. I think we'll do a free cart mug with a sketch and a notebook. All right. Yeah. Well, one of the things too is, you take a big hit on super chats and channel memberships and stuff too when you don't, like, here's the thing that was crazy. Today when Adventures with Purpose did their live stream this morning, they had 30,000 people on there, and they only did the live stream for like 20 minutes. They should have sat on there for an hour and a half, and they probably could have funded their entire year. They sat on there for 20 minutes. They should have came up and discussed other cases that they've solved and all kinds of various things, and got as many channel members as possible, and raise as much money as possible in that time that they had, because it was, what they did was absolutely incredible. The Kiely case became really big, really fast, and what they did was absolutely
I mean, people are like, get Adventures with a Purpose out there. They'll do it. And it's like, come on, you guys. I mean, they're great and everything, but they get out there and when they finally get put on the main lake where the pings were, they find the car in 30 minutes. Unreal, right? So they should have really gone and got as much support as possible, because that would really be able to keep them funded. Like, for example, if I had 2,000 channel members at like $4, I probably wouldn't have to do, I would just do shows, it wouldn't even care. I mean, super chats would just add to what we're doing. And that's what they could be doing. Like, if they had 5,000 members, all $10, they got it. They can pay the salaries, they can take care of everything. That's not the answer, Charleston, Amy. That's not what I'm saying. They need it to fund. They need funds. They're not a non-profit, but they're so they do need the funds. So regardless if you're saying they're not in it for the money for shit, they're not in it for the money for shit. What does that even mean, Charleston, Amy? That sentence is another one of the, they're not in it for the money for shit. Huh? Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. That's what they're doing. They rely on their memberships and contributions. That's why they should have stayed on. And because that was a huge moment for them, and they could have built up their entire, their funding for like a year, easily. Right. Well, they should in that case, though, Charleston, Amy, because like they say, they need money. They do their ads. They need money to pay for the gas and all kinds of stuff that they're doing. So I thought it wasn't really, they should have really stayed on there a little bit. When you have 30,000 people, especially for what they do, they have gas guzzling vehicles. Their equipment's expensive. They have to stay in hotels or whatever they're doing, maybe in their vehicles, but there's food and all kinds of stuff that they're spending money on. And so that's just what if I was them, that was like a moment in time where they really could have helped secure what they're doing, maybe even started other chapters, expanded what they're doing, that kind of thing. So it's not really always about the money, it's about trying to, get shit done, right? Yeah, maybe they do, Charleston, Amy, I don't know. But they do have, they have memberships, and none of them are small. Like the lowest one's $4.99, and then it goes up to like $100, $99 a month for some of the people. So the more of those they get, the better they can do. That's all I'm saying, because I think they're definitely a worthy. I don't know if you call them an organization, but they're not an org, but they're definitely a worthy cause to send money to. And I like them because I'm not saying I'm equivalent to them in any way, shape, or form. We just try to do something similar in terms of we try to raise funds to get stuff done. We don't actually get to be the one. Like, what would be cool is if we were the genetic genealogists and we raised the money. That would be similar to what they're doing, but just on a different platform. We just raise the funds to get stuff done, and basically what you could say is we use Identifiers International as the tool to identify the persons, and we pay for it. I mean, we're definitely just like a partnership. They're the ones that do all the cool stuff, though. We raise the funds, they do the cool shit. And then they come on and they talk about it. But I'm definitely, I'm a fan of theirs. I've watched them for a long time. But I gotta be honest. I thought everybody was way overboard, going, "Oh, get Adventures with a Purpose." I mean, didn't some of you think that too? Like, come on, you guys. It's a little much to say. Come show up, and you're gonna go find the vehicle. Just like that, right? After law enforcement's been scouring it around. And then they go there and, by God, they found the vehicle. I mean, it's just unreal.
It's unfreaking real, everybody. Unfreaking real. Oh, Gray, I thought they'd find it all. Yeah, see, there's Al Fair. Oh, yeah, I'm sure I thought. Of course you did. Okay. Let's see. So we got the wheel here. I'm going to make sure S-Jabs, all of his life credentials are on the screen. Hold on. And Zozo's favorite face. The Zit face. Yeah! I don't even remember who made that for me. There isn't a soul that really thought they'd come out and find it. Okay, you might have been like, yeah, get them out there, they're good, you know, but no, I was positive. I was absolutely bullshit. Okay. The tongue on the forehead? Oh, that's just his crunched up eyebrow. Man, why did you say that? Now that's all I'm ever going to see, Sarita. That's terrible. Thank you. Yeah, I was hopeful too, but like, I was trying to tamp down people's expectations. But man, was I wrong on that one. Wow. Alright, so this was for the freak. Oh, shit. There we go. I didn't even shuffle it, but it'll all work out. And look at that. It's Daryl Montgomery, who wins the free cart mug with a sketch. Alright, now this one's going to be for the notebook now. You ready? So Daryl Montgomery, you won the free cart mug with a sketch. And the notebook. Here we go. Oh, it's Billy Juliana, the mayor. That's right, everybody. Oh, you want the crumbs? Alright, here we go. Billy Juliana has just given up her notebook. And that's the Velvet Army, which I'm sure would also give up the... If she wants one, I'll send it to her anyways. So I'm going to spin it again. Here we go. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Oh, and look at that. It's TTJO. All right. Well, go ahead and send me your addresses. All right. I almost put you in there, Zozo, just as an honorary spin for all those great questions you were asking tonight. Fantastic. Hey, was her left shoe tied? I'm just not sure. I just want to know the answer. Ah, man. She's funny to always battle with. But anyways, thanks everybody. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I'm trying to match my voice with the music a little bit. Forget it. Alright, so anyways, that's too loud. That's too loud. Alright, well thank you guys for being here tonight, and hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Also, hit the like button. And if you'd like to become a channel member, you hit the join button underneath the video. And if you're watching after the fact, if you'd like to help out the channel, they got the super thanks button. Something new and really cool and neato. Alright, so thank you guys very much for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And I hope you guys liked the stories tonight. I thought they were pretty interesting. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person.
What's going on, Greg G? What's going on, Greg G?
Lie detector. Gonna get
Hey Zozo, you remember me though? You like me, Zozo? You like me, right, Zozo? Everybody likes me, but Zozo likes me the most.
Here's my nectar. I don't know if she likes you or not. Sometimes she doesn't like you at all. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a protector.
Flecto, Septo,
and I'm
gonna spectre with a vector.
On his pector, with all respect, y'all. Just remember, I've a temple fucking check ya.
I have no agenda. I have a tender.
And I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right.
Hey, cool, Stephanie. I'm glad you bought a tumbler. Who's Greg, though?
Yeah, who's Greg? Listen, I respond to Gary, Craig, and sometimes Jim. All right, guys, we'll see you later. And be safe out there.
Be safe out there. How was that, Greg?
It wasn't too bad, but it was a little too excited sounding, right? It was actually pretty shitty.
Gosh, Greg, that isn't very nice. Oh, God, you're so big. Oh, you're so big.
Wow, I'm sorry, Mary Lou. I didn't mean to make you feel so bad.
I don't feel bad at all. Good night, everybody. Dream.
Oh, my God. What a poser. All right, see you guys later.